time to get ready for our second set of the day here on the channel. We have got DeMu versus Anotand. Ooh, welcome back, boys. Lidda, talk to me a little bit about those stats. You heard me tooting off a few of them. Is there any big surprise here from the ones you heard?
Not very many, although I would lie if I said that I heard everything, because, caster breaks are provided such that casters can take a break. But...
No, you need to know everything, okay? You need to be here every second and every day. I think the big
I'm
one
sorry.
for me, though, the big one for me was Mongols and Delhi underperforming. Like, are you a bit surprised that Marine Lord, both of them having a 40% win rate?
No, I think that's fair. I think people have been overestimating Delhi a lot. I think Delhi is not good. I think when you play Delhi in best of 5 is that you misdrafted somewhere, I think. Because it's just a Civ that have too many bad matchups, that it's just a big gamble to pick them, I think. So yes, sometimes it's fine because you have the good matchups, but when you have the bad matchups, you're just normally dead. So, I mean, you can see, like, in the last tournament, I never played Delhi for good reasons. I just think it's bad. And when I pick Delhi, it's to deny it for my opponents. So, like, if I play against Vortex, Lucifon, for example. But I think the Civ is not good.
It's interesting, actually, because, like, on the flip side, I feel like this year you've prioritized, I want to say Iber's a decent amount. I still remember the first major tournament of the year. I think you had 10 wins, 0 losses. Like, do you think that that's a Civ that maybe is still in a very potent position here?
I'm really not sure, to be fair. Like, I think it's a Civ with a lot of weird matchups, so it's just gonna give some very weird win rates here and there, but
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, well, what about this matchup, Lidical? Talk to me a little bit about it. We've got Benny Boy versus Anotand, the unorthodox versus, I say, the orderly. Do you have a favorite going into this one?
I don't think I have one, to be honest. We've seen some really good Anotand performances recently, but I've been saying this for a long time. DeMu plays his best when he needs it the most, and he definitely needs it here heading into game number 1 of this elimination match. Anotand with the color yellow here on Rocky River, facing off against DeMu with the color purple, playing as the Delhi Sultanate.
So what do we think about this particular matchup, like Delhi against Zushi? I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen this matchup on LAN map. I think I played it once back in the day, and it was very hard for Zushi, I think. So from memory, I would say it's a good matchup for Delhi, but it's been such a long time that I'm really not sure, like, I don't know, to be fair.
Didn't you just say that if someone plays Delhi in a best of 5, that means that they made a mistake in the draft? Yeah. Yet we see DeMu playing as the Delhi on his own free will. It's a map that we haven't seen in quite some time, though, so maybe he's got something cooked up for us.
Yeah, it's a weird map, but in the end, it's kind of a normal map. It's just normal LAN map. Water is not worth to get because it's too aggressive and it's only two fish, my bad, not sheep. So it's not really worth to get. And Zushi, I'm really not sure. Like, I don't really get what's the idea behind it on this map. I don't feel like you can get any good meditation garden. So maybe it's just like a massive that you had to play because you have to have a good Civ pool, obviously. Need to play a lot of Civs in this format. So maybe it's just like one of the lower tier Civs he wanted to play as a throwaway, Like, maybe he feels confident with it, but not too much that it's a good Civ he has. He just wants to play and see how it goes.
Well, we do have 2 villagers moving out here for Anotand already. Looks like we're going to have those meditation gardens pushed all the way up here. But... assuming it's meditation gardens.
No, it is, but... okay, on the right, it makes some sense. Yes, triple berry over there. So that's a good one, I guess.
Yeah, that's a juicy, juicy spot indeed. At the same time, DeMu is doing the standard, usual daily stuff, likely aging up the Tower of Victory. And there we go. That's a very much pushed up meditation gardens, though. It took a long time for him to walk out there.
Yeah, I would be surprised if that's worse. I think maybe you can just play around it and try to just kill it with Geyser Riders. I would not be surprised if he just aims to kill it. And I'm not sure, like, what's the follow-up with it? Like, do you just make a big army and you try to fight Feudal Age against Delhi? That tends to be good with China, but China have a different working economy. So I feel like China is a bit better at that than Zushi. I mean, at least he's gonna have a lot of free food, right? You're gonna have like maybe 90 food per minute with that, maybe a bit more. No, actually, way more. Actually, I'm stupid. It's gonna be like 140 food per minute with this meditation garden if it's surrounding the whole berry patch.
Yeah, if Anotand starts committing a lot to army production, trying to protect this meditation gardens, this is going to be a really good staging ground because it's kind of halfway in between those two sacred sites, and DeMu will need these sacred sites. So it really, I agree with you. He might just try to commit very heavily into army production and say, okay, I'm going to defend this meditation gardens. It's a big boost to my economy, and at the same time, I will just try to be around to deny those sacred sites.
Yeah, that sounds like the more logical plan. But I'm really not sure if he can really make enough units to kill off a Delhi player with Tower of Victory and Gazier Riders. So, I mean, it must be it must have been a matchup he had played in practice. So he must be aware of like, okay, he's actually making a Jignan Tower, which is a dynasty, so you can have cheaper wood cost on economy building, which is good for later on.
Indeed, Jagnan Tower coming in here for Anotand. At the same time, DeMu, up to 3 scholars. He's committed a lot of resources to the scholar production right here. Sanctity is on the way as usual. Not a single production building, though. Are you surprised about this? This is a very non-aggressive start for the Delhi, I guess.
Yeah, usually you do that against people who defend. So like against the Rus that is gonna go second TC, English, or maybe China, that tends to be a bit more defensive. Since you really want your sacred site as fast as possible, you go 3 monks, and then you can obviously go for 3 sacred sites at the same time. But in this case, I think he didn't expect Anotand to place the meditation garden so aggressively on the map. So maybe if he knew ahead of time, he would just go 2 and he would just make a stable unit to actually go kill the meditation garden.
First Ghazi Raider will be coming out of here as Anotand does finish the Jiangnan Tower. Not a single piece of military coming out of Anotand, however. He's bagging up a lot of food, doesn't really have a lot of gold to work with, but also no army so far.
I guess he's gonna start making it now, right? Since he's gonna have to make production after making the Jiangnan Tower. He's gonna have 1 free unit per production building. So that's how it works. Like if you make the Jiangnan Tower, what's it gonna do? It's gonna bring you 1 unit per production building. So if you make 1 archery range, you're gonna have 1 Zugenu. If you make 1 stable, you're gonna have 1 horseman. And if you make a rack, you're gonna have a spear for free. So it's a very weird dynamic. Because in the end, I don't think you make a lot of production. You just make a few. Because you just want to boost them, right? So it's a bit of a weird one where like the idea behind it is cool. But since you're playing Zoshi, it's not very good, I think, in combination.
Well, it's going to be a heavy commit now to the Ghazi Raiders. As expected, they're looking to torch down these meditation gardens, but I don't know how you feel about this. I think if you are Anotand, you're more than happy with DeMu just wasting his time, so to say, on torching down this building, because this gives you a little bit more time to build up your spearman and horseman count.
I feel like he's safe, so it's really not a big deal. I think he really doesn't want to lose the meditation garden in the long run. So yeah, he has some time for himself, but in the end, he's gonna have to defend this middle point, I think. And same for sacred sites. DeMu is gonna go for them very soon, and I don't think you can really have him let him have sacred sites for free. You really have to fight for it, I think.
Oh, Scout does escape the chase of all these horsemen out there, so DeMu is not going to be deprived of vision. Horsemen clash into the Ghazi Raiders for the time being, but Anotand is yet to show the spearmen here. He's just now moving out of his base with those.
Yeah, and he has a bigger army than DeMu, so he could actually kill the monks for sure, if he just bring everything. So the right sacred site is gonna be safe. I think he's sending a monk to the left one too, no? Right now. So maybe he's just going to try to take all sacred site at once. But it's not gonna really gonna work, man. He has too many units, Anotand.
Indeed, Anotand, he just has a massive army advantage over here. 10 spearmen. DeMu is just now coming out with his second archer. These Ghazi Raiders looking to turn back and do some damage, but they just have to flee out of this position. And at the same time, Anotand is now mixing in some Jugenu as well. Meditation Garden still stands. But this is where it gets tricky, right? You are starting to mix in some archers, but Anotand already has some horsemen out as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna go mass horseman in the long run. I think it's too full heavy for Azuchi. I think he just want to go for a lot of Zugenu. So I don't think he's gonna be worried about cavalry too much on the long run. But for sure, for now, he has a lot of cavalry, and that's something you have to take into consideration.
Well, archers keep getting at it here by DeMu. He's gonna go for that combination of Gazi Raiders and archers. First blacksmith upgrade is just now finishing for him. No blacksmiths out there for Anotand just yet. But Anotand's army is just growing so rapidly. And once again, he's yet to show the Jugenu to his opponent. Those Jugenu haven't been seen. Maybe they are anticipated by DeMu, but he didn't get a visual confirmation so far.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you said, he will expect it, but for now, he doesn't really know about it. He has +1/+1 already for his archer and +1 anti-archer, so we'll be fine against Zugenu. His army is pretty big too, so I guess he's gonna be able to start fighting for the middle sacred site and for the meditation garden. I think if this dies, Anotand is actually behind. If it stays alive, he is in a fine position.
He's just not getting the range defense upgrade. Meditation Garden's low on HP. I don't know if Anotand is going to be there in time. Maybe he's going to pull a villager later on, even if it's on fire. But this Meditation Gardens will definitely be set on fire. Palace Guards are slowly being mixed in here by Anotand as well.
Yeah, I'm really not sure about that against Gazi Riders. But hey, who knows? Maybe it's okay.
Ooh, and he arrives in time to push away the troops. The Meditation Gardens are still not on fire. Horsemen doing a decent job pushing back the first wave of Jugenu, but the archers are picking those apart. Many of these Gazi Raiders are heavily damaged, however, they just have to stay behind for the time being. So what's next for Anotand over here? His Meditation Gardens are still intact, but maybe not for too long. But at the same time, he's facing a lot of archers and doesn't really have the necessary amount of Jugenu to die of this yet.
Yeah, I think for now, DeMu is gonna scale a bit better because of Gazi Riders and Tower of Victory. And eventually, when we get close to 200 population, Zugenu are gonna be a bit better. So I guess they're just gonna fight Feudal for a long time. And eventually, I think DeMu is gonna try to age up. But in a very long time, I think. He's gonna take his time, he's gonna make more monks, make sure his production is very good. And then maybe around like 150 population, I think he will try to age up.
Well, Meditation Garden's now on fire, but they still produce those resources. So that's there for you. But now, as I'm saying that the landmark is gone, looks like Anotand isn't really willing to fight for it for the time being. At the same time, DeMu did manage to capture 2 sacred sites. So there is a decent amount of passive gold income now for him. He's up to 30 or so archers. And the second wave of blacksmith upgrades is just now finishing. Jugenu looking to hold their ground over here. A couple of Palace Guards being mixed in though, and that's definitely not something that those archers will be good against. Not so much the Gazi Raiders. That's one of the cool things that you're getting out of these Gazi Raiders. Bonus damage against these heavy troops.
Yeah, trade is pretty even so far. He wants to really snipe all the pikes with the spears with all the archers, and then he can go with the Gazi Riders. Right now he could go actually, he has enough. So obviously it's gonna be a fair trade because Zugenu are very good in big number, but DeMu is for sure happy about this trade. Meditation Garden is done, and he has 2 sacred sites. So I think with this situation you're just happy as Dali, and you just want to trade evenly.
Well, 2 sacred sites still under the control of DeMu here. Palace Guards being mixed in as well. A couple of spears making an appearance too from Anotand. So far, this has been just a back and forth skirmish. But it's going to be full blacksmith upgrades now for DeMu. And he's also doing a pretty good job aggressively contesting that far left sacred site. Really, he is not very far away from having all 3 sacred sites under his control.
Yeah, it makes sense since he has cavalry. He can control normally the left side. He can also actually take the map control with berries. Berries are obviously in a big number towards the middle of the map. So he can probably secure them a lot on the left, maybe. Anotand, I'm really not sure how he's gonna do with food. For now, he was fine because he had a lot of sheep at the start. But the deer pack is very far left, and then everything else is very forward. So he's gonna have to fight if he really wants to not do farm. Maybe he's gonna go for farms. He's gonna be more cheap with Dynasty, obviously. So it could be a possibility.
Right now, Anotand is focusing on decapturing that sacred site in the middle. He's got 4 out of 4 Imperial officers, boosting his economy and production. DeMu still heavy on the archers, but he kind of stopped producing Gauzy Raiders. And at the same time, Anotand is still mixing in more Palace Guards, so this could get a little dicey here for DeMu. Indeed, DeMu is thinking twice about taking this fight.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't need gold for now. It's always a good bonus, but you don't really need it. I think you really want to make a big mass of Gauzy Raiders before the next fight. I think having 5 to 10 is not good enough. You just need way more to make sure you can go into the Zugenu mass. Because you don't really want to just aim into it. You really want to surround it so you can work with your archer and actually have a good trade. If you just get kited to your death, it's not gonna be really worse. So you really want a good amount to make sure you can surround your opponent.
40 archers versus 42 Jugenu, a bit of a skirmish in the middle, but really, I mean, lines are solidifying over here. Neither of the players are really making a break for it or trying to just take a decisive engagement, so to say. Who does that favor in the long run?
I mean, Anotand have an extra good bonus that is cheaper age up. That could be useful later on. I feel like if any find a good age up timing, they will be ahead. But I really don't see how this can happen from DeMu. I think DeMu, if he age up, he's gonna die. He's gonna die as fast as Anotand is gonna push. So the only one that could potentially age up is Anotand, I think. But it's gonna take a while. He doesn't have any food right now, so...
Yeah. I mean, it's true for DeMu as well. It tells you a lot that he's taking hunt over here with the deli, not something that you see every single day. Palace Guard will find those villagers, so it can do a little bit of harassment out there. Once again, players are posturing back at home here. Basically, all field age upgrades are complete, though, for DeMu. He has nothing left to research.
Yeah, I mean, the +1/+1 physical is not big in this case. So you only care about +1/+1 arrow, and they both have it. You care about food and wood upgrade mostly, and that's what they both have. So the only thing that is really bad for Anotand is the meditation garden being down. It's like you're losing 2 free villagers, 2 to 3, so that's obviously something problematic. And it's never gonna go up ever, because it's in a bad position, so... I guess Anotand is gonna go fast castle now. He's rolling up his map. He has a few farms, so kind of... I mean, he can go age up right now. Let's see if behind it, he will be able to be safe, especially the wood line. It could be easily pressured.
Well, Castle Age will be targeted here by Anotand. He's aging up with the Mount Lu Academy just now. DeMu looking to make a push happen. He does have a lot of food in the bag, but doesn't have the gold to age up just yet. And even if he does, it takes some time with the deli to grab the upgrades. Archers trading against the Chukenu for the time being. Looks like the walls will be breached, though. So the Gauzy Raiders could commit. Spearmen slowly being trickled out here by Anotand. A couple of Palace Guards making an appearance as well, but these Gauzy Raiders, they do provide a good front line for the time being, and DeMu is more than happy trading this just before the cost stage upgrades would hit here for Anotand.
Yeah, DeMu really wanted to take this kind of fight, so he's gonna be pretty happy about it. He went for the Mount Lu Academy, actually. He didn't go for like the big monastery. That's kind of surprising. I think it makes sense, because he's lacking food. So, oh my god, I didn't see that. That's crazy. If he can have a full repair, that's crazy, actually. I'm not sure, like, I guess he wants to get the late game upgrade from the Mount Lu Academy, but it's kind of a weird choice, I think.
While he survives this initial aggression over here, DeMu does have all 3 sacred sites. He's also looking to age up. But at the same time, it's now Anotand breaking out of his base. He's starting to mix in some more and more Palace Guards, and indeed, there's just no vision here from DeMu to prevent that repair from happening. Compound of the defender now coming in for him as well. But this is where, again, we have to highlight how long it takes for the deli to get those upgrades. DeMu only has 4 scholars.
I mean, it's gonna take forever. And he wants to take relics too, so... maybe the imams won't even be at home. So yeah, it's gonna take forever, but his army is very big. Unlike Anotand's. I think Anotand's army is not good enough to push right now. So yes, it can look scary. I think it's gonna be fine if he just take a good fight.
He does have enhanced production on that stable, and he's going very heavy on the Ghazi Raiders. Anotand doesn't have a lot of spearmen nearby, so this could still be a fight where DeMu just jumps this army with a bunch of horsemen, even though those are feudal age horsemen. Looks like those are not here, though. I actually wonder if they flanked around to the left. You do have DeMu working with a lot of proxies, by the way. Bunch of villagers all the way to the left on the berries. He also has that sacred site under his control. He's not afraid of moving out of his base, and part of the reason why he can afford that is because Anotand lost his scout.
Yeah. They are both not scouting too well. But Anotand probably expect it to be on the left. On top of that, there is a sacred site on the left too, so he's gonna go there. Let's see if he can take a good fight. That's not a very good engagement from DeMu, I think. He could do a bit better. He has to focus Archer and Zugenu with his Archer. He cannot go on Palace Guard. It's not very good.
Well, the Palace Guards are slowly picked off. Some cavalry coming in from behind as well. And this is a beautiful cleanup here by DeMu. The Jugenu, they also lost a lot of their firepower trying to take out the first Lancer that came out. Second wave of Palace Guards looks like it is turning the momentum. Lancers that DeMu has, the 2 Lancers and 5 crossbows, that would be great against these Palace Guards. They're nowhere to be found, though.
Yeah, I wonder if he's trying to take any relics right now. I don't think so. Oh my god, that's so many farm already. That's a very good late game setup.
Anotand is just setting himself up for the long run. First relic is just now coming in here from DeMu. He still has 2 sacred sites, but finally this proxy base does get scouted out, and DeMu is slow to react. DeMu is not reacting at all. Oh my word, that is already 7 villagers lost, and a lot more idled out.
Yeah, I wonder if he's gonna be able to save all of these villagers. I'm quite sure he will be able to. There is no cavalry on the map, so it's not like Anotand is very fast around. But it's still so much idle for like 20 plus villagers, which is terrible. So it's a very big blow.
He's got the relief force coming in. Anotand will try to Wololo all these villagers. Villagers rushing the monk, that's a bad idea. Villagers have to flee, and
that's GG.
That might just be the game here. DeMu trying to take out the monk, realizing it's not gonna happen, but just too late to flee, losing a dozen villagers to the conversion.
That's terrible. That's game changing. Yeah, I don't know. It was a pretty slow reaction time, but yeah, once he started running, I knew like it was over. It was a conversion right there, but yeah, it is what it is, right? It's Wololo, sometimes you don't react and you just die, kind of. And over that, the army is pretty close, like it's pretty even. So they're gonna start trading again. Pretty evenly, I think the fight is actually pretty bad for Anotand. Not the best engagement.
He doesn't have his whole army over here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, DeMu just lost so much. I mean, he's down by almost 40 eco. He's going to clean this up. Castle Age upgrades are just now finishing for him, but imagine if he doesn't lose all those villagers out there. This game could have been so different.
Yeah, it would have been a different game, but it happened. So he's gonna have to play around it. He's gonna have to probably go make a few castles, try to boom from the castle economy that Delhi has, which is one of their strong points. But obviously when you are like 80 villagers against 48, that's a very hard uphill battle.
And he's trying to take the fish and the berries from here, but I mean, you have a landmark right next to you from your opponent, so this gets scouted out immediately by Anotand.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem of this map, right? You want to take food on the map, it's there, it's very good, it's a lot, but it's in the middle of the map, so it's very easy to attack, obviously. Maybe if you can make a castle around here, then he is gonna be very safe, and that's gonna be a great spot. But for now, it's gonna be a hard one to secure.
DeMu does not have a single bit of stone, though. You kind of highlighted that his way back into this game would be to reboom with the village fortresses upgrade and the castles, but he hasn't even started mining stone just yet. And Anotand is now getting back on track. He is building up a force of Palace Guards, Nest of Beasts supporting as well. He's even stonewalling his base. He built a second DC to the north. This just feels so distant right now for DeMu.
I mean, yeah, even relics counts. It's not too good for DeMu. It's gonna be, I guess, 3-2 since the last one is at the bottom, but it's pretty close. He has 2 sacred sites, that's not too bad. But yeah, the economy count is just too different, and the farm economy is gonna really kick in. Plus, obviously, tax, right? He's gonna have a lot of tax thanks to the granary. So, food and gold is gonna be a very... it's gonna be a non-problem for Anotand.
Yeah, he's got a really good farming eco set up already. He also has 2 relics, which is pretty admirable when you're facing off against a Delhi. Worst case scenario for him is DeMu leading 3-2. But I mean, look at this. It's Chugenu just camping down a relic, and that's another scholar lost by DeMu. It's not the end of the world, but it's, again, just these little things all falling into the hands of Anotand is just starting to feel like it's going to snowball out of control.
Yeah. What a weird matchup, though. It was a crazy game. I feel like it's a pretty close one in the end when you look back at it. It's just about making a lot of units from both sides. I think at the start of the feudal, you have the sacred side control with Delhi, because you have a bit more. But eventually, Zushi's economy is pretty good, so it was a pretty close matchup in the end. Just Anotand played it slightly better, and he got the lead.
If it wasn't for that conversion, this game would be so different. Like, DeMu would be, let's say, 65, 70 villagers, Anotand would only be like 80, so it's not that big of a difference. And, I mean, the army count is still pretty good for DeMu.
Yeah, he has a very beautiful army. It's just like his economy is not gonna be great. So yeah, he has a lot of berries. So the amount of food he can gather is pretty big. But once this run out, he's gonna have to start making farms. He has 0 castles. He's totally all in on this push, so he's just gonna try a big last push. If he can make it work, nice. But against a lot of crossbows, a lot of ballast guard, and some nest of bees, that's gonna be a really hard push to make work.
Well. Anotand has been quietly building up an army, though, and he hasn't really shown this to DeMu. 40 or so palace guards ready to go, a bunch of crossbows alongside him. Only 1 nest of bees, but as you kind of touched on that before, Anotand also built up a lot of sustainability. He's got the farming eco set up, he's got 2 TCs as well. He is set for a long game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's ready for Empire right now. He could click, he would upgrade long crossbow and palace guard, and he would be totally fine. He's even on like a 6 IO, I mean 5 for now, but he's gonna get a 6th one. He has all the good upgrades for his economy.
Here comes the push from Anotand. DeMu looking to hold his ground, but he is having his archers split all across the map, and he does have 27 crossbows somewhere. You just don't see them on the field right here. It feels like many of them might be back at home, and by the time they arrive, it's going to be too late. Single nest of bees, Lancers will not be able to catch because you do have crossbows as well from Anotand, and indeed, just it really felt like you had barely any crossbows in this fight for DeMu, right?
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of them here. I know they're coming, but it's too late.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel the same.
Yeah.
He was supposed to have the crossbows here, but they weren't. But really, when you look back at this game, you really gotta highlight that Wololo here from Anotand. A big win here in game number 1, convincing, and just some spectacular moments as well with that big Wololo, some of the crazier fights of this game that puts Anotand in the driver's seat.
Yeah, a very important game, right? It was some middle of the pack sieves, so it was a pretty fair matchup, and you really want to win this kind of matchup. The ones that feels good are the most fair, and obviously this one was very good, so Anotand is going to be very happy about this one, I think.
And with that, we're going to have to take a look at the draft here once again. Anotand with a 1-0 lead. This is once again an elimination match. So if DeMu ends up losing this series, this is going to be it for him in the online stage of Red Bull Wololo El Reinado. And it looks like we are going to be heading into Gorge. First time today that we are taking a look at a Gorge game. And it's going to be the English versus the Byzantines, the OG Longbow Civ against the newcomer Longbow Civ.
Yeah, I really like this matchup as English. I think you can just go 2 TC safely, and Byzantine is gonna have to do something about it. Either they go second TC, but they are facing a king, which is very annoying, or they go 1 TC and fast castle, as they always do, and English is just gonna have a fast castle pretty much as fast as them, plus a second TC. So I think this matchup is usually considered pretty good for English, maybe like 60-40.
Well, remaining maps will be Tri-Arabia, Frisian, Marshes, and Kawasan. But of course, this is not the only series that has been going on. So let's take a quick look at the brackets here to see how the other sets are doing. We have 3 more elimination matches going on as we speak. And indeed, we are taking a look at the upper bracket, which is basically done for today. We're going to have Beastie versus Fam and Puppy Paw versus Lucifron tomorrow. But what's interesting for us now is the lower part of the bracket, which does have all 4 matchups that we have currently running. Vortex versus Louis MT, currently 1 apiece. CSO Killjardy, 0-0 still. Baltoon versus Zorton, same is the case for them. Whereas Anotand is up 1-0 against DeMu.
A 1-1 Vortex against Lou. That's not surprising. I think it's gonna be a competitive one. It's gonna be a nice one.
It's an elimination match, and that's a big one,
Yeah.
though, because one of those 2 players we'll have to say goodbye to. It's always a sad thing to see. Vortex, of course, one of the most accomplished players in the history of AoE 4, whereas Louis MT, he's been having some really good performances as of late.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it in a deeper way, on DeMu, Anotand, Lou, and Vortex, you're going to have one to face like the loser of BC1, and then it's still gonna go on. So it's a very stacked bracket, I think, a very stacked one. But it's gonna give us some good games, so we can't complain.
Indeed, but of course, you know, at the very end, only one remains that challenges you in the castle. It doesn't mean that there is no prize coming in with placements. So for many of these players, even if they don't reach that very final stage, there is a decent share of the prize pool, the total $50,000 prize pool, that they are able to pick up with a good placement in these brackets.
Yeah, it is. Money is good.
No, I love that very analytical thought added to this conversation. But indeed, here we go. So the winner of the online stage is going to be qualified to face off against none other than Marine Lord himself in the Castle of Almodovar in Spain. But the second place does get a respectable amount of $5,000, which is a pretty considerable prize when you look at the overall prize pools across the AoE 4 scene.
Yeah, you fucked up though. Like the winner of this tournament only wins 10k. And then the second place will get 5k and then we are good. But yeah, the winner of this tournament, he will lose in the final, guys. I'm already telling you the result. I'm spoiling you, sorry. It's gonna be a beat down. It's gonna be one-sided. But I will make it a little bit close. It will be like a 5-0 or a 4-0, but some close games. So, you know, I'm always nice.
How exactly are you going to do a 5-0 or a 4-0 in a best of 5?
There is no way it's a best of 5.
Isn't it?
I mean, they didn't say it, but I'm quite sure it's gonna be best of 7 or 9. There is no way it's a best of 5. There is no way. For a final.
Anyway, let's just focus on
man.
the series. We have Anotand with a 1-0 lead over DeMu. Once again, DeMu is the color purple Byzantines. Anotand, color yellow, he's under, or no, he's not under the command of the English. He is the one in command of the English, I should say. And it's Gorge. So, since this is the first time for us looking at this map today, how do you feel about the Civilization matchup, particularly on this map?
Okay, first of all, I don't care about the Civ matchup. I care about something. Gorge is out since 2 years, and DeMu, he still doesn't know how to scout it. Terrible scouting pattern, he's gonna have a lot of ship issues. No, speaking about matchups, I think English is very good into Byzantine. I think it's gonna be a pretty hard matchup for DeMu. But DeMu, that being said, is pretty creative in this kind of matchup. So maybe he's gonna find a way to play it smart and do well, right? Who knows?
Well. DeMu opening up with the scouting on the other side of the map, of course. A fairly standard and slow-paced Dark Age. That's kind of what you expect from these civilizations. No crazy Dark Age shenanigans from Anotand with Man-at-Arms. He's just going to do the usual stuff with the Abbey of the Kings. It's remarkable how much the meta shifted from the Council Hall to the Abbey of Kings recently. Like, I remember the days where Council Hall was the landmark we've seen in every single game. Abbey of Kings was played in less than 1% of the games, but now it's almost exclusively the Abbey.
Yeah, I mean King. King is just pretty much infinite value. You can heal infinitely. It's pretty short, the amount of time you have to wait for the heal to go up. And you can heal your friend with it. So... I mean, it's just literally infinite value, right? You attack, you can even fight spears, you get low life, you get full backup. The spears are low life, you come back, you kill it, and you do that infinitely. And if you play it very well, it's the best unit in the game.
It's a powerful tool, and I don't know how you feel about it, but the way I looked at the Abbey for a long time, back in the days when Mista was experimenting playing with the Abbey, it's really a landmark that gets so much more powerful once you get to Castle Age, because that healing power you get from the Abbey itself is something that you can leverage a lot more with Knights compared to Horsemen.
Yeah, for sure. But the fact that it's being free, just the Knight itself at the start is just insanely good. So now it's good in both cases, right? It's just very good at the start of Feudal, and then it scales very well. So, just a very strong landmark.
The King coming out now for Anotand here. On the other side, it's just going to be an early wheelbarrow investment. Some late sheep also being picked up here by Anotand. But I think, I don't know how... Oh, okay, there's the stable out there, so the Horseman opening. It's going to be scouted by DeMu. So, I don't know how I feel about this, but this map is super open, and the resource spawns are fairly predictable. How does that change your approach as a player to a certain civilization matchup?
I mean, you know, the wood is always gonna be safe, so that the gold and, I mean, the rest is not gonna be safe most of the time. So, I mean, I guess China is pretty popular on this map, contrary to Arabia, just because Arabia, you know, is gonna be hard to secure some part of the map. Here with China, you can just barbican the gold, that is gonna be forward, and then you can wall off easily one side of the map, because China walls very fast. Outside of that, I think it doesn't change much. Every other civs that is good on Arabia is pretty good on this map. So I think it only changed a lot for China, and for the rest, it's not a big deal.
Well, DeMu is heavy on the olive oil department. He's got 500 stacked up already, but he's going to be contested on these berries over here by the Horseman and the King. And this is where it gets a little tricky for him. He actually opted to open Mercenary House here. Doesn't have a single Limitani to deal with these troops. So he might be pushed away from the berries here temporarily.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty big mistake. You really don't want to have any idol against English, just because the CV is very strong. He's going Keshix. That's very wild.
Okay, now I did not necessarily expect that. I get where he's coming from. Like playing longbows into a civ that has you know, more longbows probably might not be the best of all ideas. And it's actually an interesting approach if you think about it, because the Keshik heal themselves, so you kind of partially counter that healing that you have on the other side. Still, this is not something that you see every day.
Yeah, it's not. I think the plan was to go fast castle. And he was like, yeah, English is gonna go fast castle too. So Keshix makes a lot of sense because you take map control and then you can take relics. But Anotand said no. He really wanted to attack. And he is gonna keep going attacking since he is going longbow. So I mean, 2 Keshix is gonna be a problem, right? But the King and the Horseman will eventually win the fight thanks to the heal. So it's a bit of a weird dynamic, I think.
Especially because Anotand started mixing in longbows. And longbows don't really do well against Keshik out here, so maybe he got baited a little. Do you think he expected longbows from DeMu?
I mean, once you see no spears, I think you expect Keshiks. But at the start of the game, if you ask him, I think yeah, he would say longbow for sure. So I'm really not sure, like... His goal is just to create a lot of idle time from DeMu, I think, and to make a bigger army. And so far, that's what he's doing. He's gonna kill one villager. Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, that's
and
a
DeMu is
really
really not
good
playing
find.
Yeah, DeMu is really not playing around it. Like, he refuses to make any spears. So he's gonna have more and more idle time. And that's not gonna be good at all, because the push is gonna come eventually. And then he's really gonna be in some big trouble. While aging up.
DeMu is looking to fast castle here, but at the same time, it wasn't just the gold where he was harassed. He lost a villager, as you highlighted. He also lost a villager down at the berries. So as Anotand was harassing the gold mine, the 2 horsemen he had were harassing the berries. I love how he split up his cavalry, because now he's able to just idle so many villagers.
Yeah, 2 more Kashyyyks coming out, but 7 longbows. Decent front line. I'm not sure. I feel like he should still add spears though, if he wants to stick to feudal. Anotand. I really don't think he can play feudal with only longbow against cavalry-based army. Well, DeMu is going +1 armor, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why he cannot afford Castle Age yet. He clicked the upgrade, but now he doesn't have gold for Castle.
Yeah. I mean, the plan is just not good, right? You are planning to have too much idle time, and if your opponents really pressure into you at the right time, you're gonna have a lot of food issues, eventually gold issues. So, yeah, markets. That's bad.
Yeah, DeMu had to build a market to sell his food so he can afford Castle Age. I mean, he really wanted to get that range defense upgrade, but he needed to fight so hard to have the gold for that castle. Now he's aging up with the golden horn tower, but you look at on the other side of the map, Anotand is very close to clicking up himself.
Yeah, because he created so much idle, he's gonna have the pressure on the... I mean, to be fair, like I was about to say, he's gonna have to put pressure, but he doesn't have any spears. So maybe he won't be able to actually really pressure his opponents. But yeah, he's just happy about the situation. He killed 2 villagers. He created a lot of idle. He has some... Oh no, he actually doesn't have a more eco upgrade since DeMu have wheelbarrow. I don't know, like maybe DeMu can find some damage with the Kashyyyks upgraded. Then he can do something. He's gonna go for a monk first, which is surprising. Okay, no, he cancelled it. He cancelled the monk. Oh no, he didn't cancel it, my bad. He just have enough gold, so he must have a... He must be selling some food. Getting the upgrade plus monks, which is smart, I think.
Yeah, it looks like Anotand went all the way back home, so DeMu's gonna get all that map control he needs. He's getting the veterancy for the Kashyyyk. And at the same time, he's gonna have that map control to start picking up relics with. Anotand looking to age up himself. I would assume Council Hall, but you never know. His Castle Age might be delayed here a little as well, because he is getting pushed here by the Kashyyyk. Did I say Council Hall? I wanted to say King's Palace, the TC landmark.
Yeah, makes sense, yeah. I think the other one would not make barely any sense. Yeah. He already has good predictions, so he doesn't need prediction with the White Tower. And the other one obviously gives you an economic lead on the long run. That's what you want. So I think King's Palace is actually better in this case.
I'm a big fan of the King's Palace landmark. That extra second town center you're getting just by aging up is something that feels so valuable, especially when you only have like 40 or so vills. It's going to be useful for the next 15-20 minutes even.
Yeah, it's gonna be useful forever. So now we have to see the relic count. He's already on 3 monks. That's a little bit crazy to have 3 monks that fast, but it means he's really gonna aim to take all the relics on the map. He's already at 2, so doing a good job. He has +2 armor already on the Kashyyyks, so he could actually dive, I think, which is very scary for Anotand.
Yeah, I wonder if he's not willing to dive because he prioritizes the relics. He's got 2 more relics that he can easily pick up, and I think that's his priority right now. He just wants to make sure that those monks get back home alive. King has been sent out to intercept monks. He might be able to bump into that monk that's walking back with the relic. But we do have a bit of a dive here by DeMu. A lot of idle time here on Anotand. Has to flee all the way across his base. Now forced to make a bunch of spearmen to deal with this. Wololo being popped over here, but that monk is going to go down. Kashyyyk still just wrecking havoc, and look at this. I mean, Anotand, he's scrambling against all these Kashyyyk.
Yeah, he doesn't have any answers to that. He cannot go longbow against this. He's gonna need something else. Maybe crossbow, but it feels a little bit late already. Like he's gonna lose so much of his economy. So much idle already. Plus he's gonna lose just villagers after villagers. His main army is gonna go down. Unupgraded. That's pretty sad.
Yeah. There's so much damage being done by DeMu here. 24 idols out of 38 eco here for Anotand. He's got barely any villagers working, and this is only the first wave. Really, you didn't have any new Kashyyyk coming in for DeMu. These were just the ones that he initially made, and they're just causing so much damage on Anotand's eco.
Yeah, plus DeMu is securing 4 relics already. maybe 5. It's not impossible that this game he gets 5, he gets the scouts too, which is very annoying for Anotand. And Anotand is literally naked. He doesn't have any units except the king and 1 horseman. So that's
And look at
terrible.
what DeMu is doing. He's got 1,800 food in the bank. I don't know what he's up to with that, but I mean, if he continues at this pace, just not making any units that cost food or gold, he could go into Imperial in the next few minutes.
Yeah, but with this sieve, it's not really smart, right? You don't really get anything.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't like it,
yeah.
but at the same time, he needs to find something that he can spend that food on.
I think you sell some gold for some wood. You make 2 or 3 more racks, and then you go mass gulams. What is he upgrading right now? Is it cavalry? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's Horseman. That's a Horseman upgrade that he's grabbing. He's also on 2 TCs now, and if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Double TCs and heavy Horsemen, that's exactly how you deplete the massive food bank that he has.
Yeah, true. But he's gonna need a bit more production than that. He's obviously gonna need way more. He has a very good income, plus he's gonna be on 2 TC, so his income is gonna grow. I mean, it's fine, right? Even if he macroed perfectly. I mean, to be fair, like if he macroed perfectly, Anotand would be dead. But he's just gonna spend money later on, and he's gonna have a big mass of units, and normally he should be able to kill his opponent. He's going crossbow to defend himself, but it's already a Norseman switch, plus some Gulams, plus Keshiks. So DeMu is gonna have a very problematic army, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. Anathand's going heavy on crossbows, but he has yet to see the horsemen coming out, and unless he has a lot of spearmen, these crossbows will just be butchered by the horsemen. King is really the only unit that Anotand can use to do any kind of a damage to DeMu with. DeMu himself sitting on 4 relics now. Does have, of course, a bunch of olive oil income as well, a steady 500 per minute. King gets pinched, King gets taken out. You feel like everything in this game is going in the favor of DeMu.
Yeah. With a very weird plan, but it's working. Like, I didn't expect this game to look like that 10 minutes ago when he was getting pressured and was taking some idle damage. But he's doing the job so far. It's not over yet, but normally, if he can play it very well, with enough Gulams and with enough Vanguard, he should be able to pressure the spear front line, and then you have enough cavalry to actually kill the crossbow and go into the economy of your opponent. 2 DC against 2 DC, so it's not like he's behind in economy. He's on 5 relics, or at least the last relic is gonna come at some point. Sacred Sites too, so playing this game very well, I think.
And now farm transition from Anotand, villagers getting caught in the middle of nowhere. Horsemen plus Kashyyyk show up. Anotand does have a couple of spearmen, but it just feels lackluster at this point, especially with DeMu potentially just running circles around his base. He's got no intention to dive into the spears. He's more than happy just confining his opponent into his base. And I think if there is one thing that tells you the story of this game, it's DeMu taking that relic from the far north corner. He is going to have all 5 relics potentially.
Yeah, he's gonna have all 5 for sure. Like Anotand, you can see he doesn't move anything on the left, so it means he totally surrendered on this relic. So yeah, it's gonna be 5 relics against 0, which is terrible obviously. He's behind, he has less army, and his army composition is weaker, so it's gonna be a very hard comeback for Anotand. But who knows, like he has English, he's one of the best defensive thieves. He has a Spring Gold tower, so maybe.
DeMu continues to expand. Villager count is neck and neck, but of course you have 5 relics, 2 sacred sites as well for DeMu, and he's starting to wall off the sacred sites. He's about to trigger the sacred site countdown. He doesn't really want to dive, you feel, and that's something that we've seen in the previous series as well. Players are just somewhat hesitant to dive into the English bases. Instead, they just prefer to play resource denial, capture sacred sites, and just, I guess, play a long game.
I mean, with this stone wall, I guess it makes sense, but I would not be mad if he will just try to dive right now. It's like super obvious, his army is bigger, so he could just send a scout in to see how big the army is, and then he could totally decide to go in, because his army would obviously kill the game right now if he would go in. He just doesn't know it, so he should really look for the information, I think.
Well, speaking of information, he just lost his scout to a single spearman.
Feels bad.
Well, Anotand doing his best to get back into this game, but he can't really pull ahead in terms of economy because both players are on 2 DCs. Villager counts are neck and neck, but at the same time, DeMu, he's got 5 relics and 3 sacred sites. That is as good as it gets. Now, Military Academy coming in as well for the extra military production. And DeMu is starting to move heavily onto stone. Makes you feel like he wants to start dropping keeps all across the map.
I mean, what can he really do to come back from this? Like, he's just gonna have to play for a slow climb up. He's gonna have to play for a late game. So he's gonna have to retake sacred sites eventually, I guess. But it's already a stone wall on the north. So I guess he's gonna have to play for the middle. That's gonna be hard, right? Because he's facing cavalry. So if he really wants to go hard on the map, he's gonna have a big problem.
Yeah, I agree. I think one concern here for DeMu is that his army is very heavily leaning towards cavalry, and Anotand is making a lot of spears. Sure enough, you have some crossbows and gulams for DeMu, but if he is so heavy on cavalry and Anotand just goes full heavy on spears, that could be a little dicey for DeMu in a straight-up fight.
I see. That's a good. Oh my god. He has so much stone, that's crazy. What the fuck?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Like, okay, if I don't die, I might as well just stonewall the sacred sites and wait.
Yeah, to be fair, you could just go for a castle on the right side to secure both gold. That would be nice too. But okay, he's just gonna dive. I'm very happy with this. Okay, maybe he's not gonna dive. He's gonna see this army, he's gonna be like, maybe that's a bit too big. And to be fair, that's kind of big, so I understand.
Let's not forget, in the previous game, he lost like 15 villagers or so to a Wololo, so he might be hesitant to dive into scenarios that he's not super comfortable about. Like, I think DeMu knows fully well that he's got a good lead in this game, but I think he's going to be very cautious, just saying, okay, I'm going to commit to this fight, I'm going to dive, because, I mean, especially after that Wololo, he doesn't want a game that he's clearly leading slip out of his grasp.
Yeah, I think you just try to control the map, and once your opponent is going for the gold, on the right side or on the full left side, you go for it. But before that, you don't really have a reason to dive. Maybe you can send a few units around to try to kill some villagers, but not a real big run by. To be fair, like his army is so big, he has 25 Kashyyyks, 14 horsemen, that's crazy.
He's got a lot of crossbows as well, which don't really get a massive bonus against the spearmen, but because the Kashyyyks stay alive for so long, and actually he's got 9 Gulam there as well, like it's enough to pick off quite a few of these spears, but again, looks like DeMu doesn't really want to fight. He just wants to finish these stone walls, and I mean, he's so close to it. He's going to finish these stone walls, then it's going to be difficult for Anotand to do anything against that.
I mean, yeah, he's gonna have to make rams or like trebs, I don't know.
Or
Plus,
siege
he's gonna
towers.
yeah, he's gonna make, yeah, sure. He's gonna make mangonels towers behind it. So like, good luck. It's just gonna be a very hard push for Anotand. He's going for the left gold, as I said. He's gonna have to move out on the map for this gold. And that's a good timing for DeMu to actually activate the run by if he wants to.
Move coming in here from DeMu. He's looking to get some damage done around here. And honestly love this. He's actually trying to go into Imperial, I feel. He's piling up resources for that, but while he's doing so, he's looking for villagers to kill as well. He's actually getting awarded gold for those villager kills, so really a juicy raid over here. So much idle time for Anotand, and he's just like running around like headless chicken with all these spears.
Yeah, I guess he's just gonna age up. He's only gonna upgrade, I mean, Kashyyyks and Gulams plus crossbow, and then he's just gonna have an insane army if he gets all those upgrades in. Plus, he's gonna get some siege maybe from this building, so maybe some nest of bees will make sense against a lot of spears like that. Will make a lot of sense. And yeah, you can even keep the run by LAN alive apparently. So if you can do it all, why not?
Yeah, DeMu, he is aging up with the Ford Engineering Company, and you know, we're getting close to the stage where that 5-minute countdown on the Sacred Side victory, it's becoming more and more intimidating for Anotand.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just like a very hard one. He doesn't have anything going for himself. He's gonna have to go Imperial, but once he goes Imperial, he's gonna still be late on upgrades, and then he won't have pushed the Sacred Site, so... Okay, that's an idea. Berkshire on Sacred Site. That could actually be something that allows him to retake the position. He will still be facing 5 relics into Sacred Site if he takes this, but maybe he can buy himself some time.
So, like, I'm actually wondering, I think this is a good time to talk about the mindset of a player like Anotand in a game like this. He clearly knows he's behind, so if you were in this position, what do you think? Like, what's your recovery? Like, what is the thing that you're believing in?
I mean, mistakes from your opponent, which can happen, but you just try to take it step by step. Now you just want to get Imperial, get your upgrades like your opponent is doing. And the secret site, you have now a Berkshire that is helping to secure it. So there is actually a good chance he retakes this position. And then he just plays the game from pretty far behind. But he has English, which is a very good save, obviously in the late game. Maybe better than Byzantine. And then you just try to fight, right? But yeah, for sure he knows it's gonna be a very uphill battle, but he's gonna give it a try.
Well, speaking of uphill, we have this big hill where the fight is taking place. Cavalry detached from this group, they're looking to hit the eco. Anotand, as you highlighted, he's trying to decap the sacred site, but in order to do that, he needs to commit his army right here, and while that's happening, DeMu is just looking to do eco damage here. Keshik fighting against the spears, that's a pretty underwhelming engagement for DeMu, but Anotand keeps losing villagers. He's down by 20 eco, and there's a Mangonel tower helping out against those troops contesting the sacred site. Countdown to 3.5 minutes, and Anotand lost a lot of his troops. I feel like, again, if he doesn't decap this sacred site now, it might be too late.
Yeah, it might be too late if he doesn't. There is another bleed, that's annoying. But to be fair, DeMu doesn't have a... I mean, maybe he's lacking some production, I'm not sure. Like, he has a lot of money. He doesn't spend it on anything. So I wonder what's the problem. He's making a lot of horsemen and a lot of crossbow, okay. I feel like he could start making a lot of gulams or like Vargan guards. It would make a lot of sense. He's going for biology, which is very good too. But he's gonna have to defend the sacred site, yeah. It's a big fighting point. He made 2 French cannon, so maybe he's just planning to push the Berkshire, which is a possibility.
And that Mangonel tower is a menace. Looks like the sacred site will slowly be decapped, but so many units had to be sacrificed for that Mangonel tower. Just look at this, butchering all these troops.
He's gonna go for it.
Oh, he's gonna try to stall this out, and he does dive in. The cavalry needs to stay alive. But it looks like he's gonna push away all these troops.
Yeah.
DeMu still has the sacred site at 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. Berkshire Palace just non-stop firing, but here come the cannon, as you highlighted. And the walls will be deleted to allow the cannons to actually fire.
Makes sense. Make a lot of sense. It's only a Berkshire with no cannon emplacement or spring gold, so it's pretty weak for now. I mean, weak. It's not weak, right? But it's not the best Berkshire ever for now. So you can fight under it.
Mangonel tower helping out as well. Some of the spearmen just focus on the cannon, but at the same time the front line is disappearing. Cannon being focused on by the men-at-arms. Nothing in front, but it doesn't matter because the Berkshire goes down, and so are the hopes of Anotand for securing game number 2. DeMu, with a quick strike, takes it into a 1-1 set.
Well played. I mean, he had such a bad start. I was not expecting an easy win like that. I think the big mistake from Anotand was to pressure with only longbows, not making any racks, and going like edge up with only 1 spear. I think he really had to just make 4-5 longbows, then you make spears, and then you can pressure your opponent, and he's never gonna get back to gold, and you're in a great position.
Well, indeed, Anotand first to strike, but now DeMu comes back 1-1. Let's hear what KP has to say about this, though, because he's been once again watching on the sidelines, keeping track of this series, and of course, all the other series going on at the same time.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to kind of bring back to Marine Lord, making it sound also simple. We've got to keep in mind, like, these games are pretty chaotic. I'm wondering, like, you know, when you look at these 2 players, I think what we've already seen here, especially in game 1, Marine Lord, is Anotand's kind of chaos theory. We know he doesn't like to play the most orthodox style. I feel like that can be quite hit and miss against a player like Ben. Like, we've seen so many players try to do cheesy or unorthodox strategies. I know we like to kind of tease him a little bit, but I think if there's one thing we usually credit him with, is the fact that he has a very solid response to these very odd mutations in AoE4.
Yeah, I feel like every time you make a mistake and you attack against DeMu, you really get punished for it. Yeah. But when you don't make any mistakes, DeMu is kind of falling apart, I think. But yeah, here for sure, Anotand really... the first part of the pressure was great, and then he really fell off with no spears, and he was trying to edge up at the same time, which was too many things at the same time to actually hold the Keshik push. But yeah, I think that's a good description of Benny.
Yeah. And, you know, like, looking at the unorthodox strategies, we saw it in game number 1, Lidicor, right? Like, that meditation garden. I'm starting to feel like it's a bait, man. Like, we kind of hyped it up at the cast. We thought it was going to be really big. I think in the end, it only gave him 90 food. But this is, I think, something that's changed is meditation gardens used to be outrageously free with that old bug. Nowadays, most players are just opting for the safe one for a combination of reasons here.
It's fun to hear you saying that because I strongly recall that when we cast together, you're like, "Oh my lord, meditation gardens this, meditation gardens that." But
Whoa, whoa,
I
whoa.
think
why am I
think-
getting strays here?
anyway, what I wanted to highlight is that I think players have gotten a little bit more aggressive with their meditation gardens placements. Back in the days, you had it on Holy Island where you just had those naturally favorable spots for the placement of the landmark. But now, as we've seen, for instance, in Rocky River, Anotand went for the high upside play to place all the way in the front, but that also means that if you lose control over that part of the map, it's just going to get taken out and it's completely useless beyond that point.
Yeah, it's like the disturbing the peace also becomes a real thing in feudal aggro specific matchups, which the Delhi is most definitely going to be. But you know, maybe more of a chill and trying to boom up game ahead of us here, Marine Lord. We've got Frisian Marshes next on the horizon. Chinese, a stable pick there. You know, Iabid's being thrown out here when you've still got things like Kawasan and Dry Arabia in reserve, maybe a little bit unorthodox. Was there maybe something you would have preferred to have seen out of Ben for this map?
I think Mongols is slightly favored into China on this map, but it's really, really hard against Rus, so I understand why you don't want to do that. IUB is pretty solid all around, so it makes sense. I would say like this matchup historically on Arabia, on like Gorge, I would say it's extremely favored for IUBs, but on a map with that many ship, like Frisian Marsh, like you're gonna have 20 to 30 ship maybe, I think this matchup is maybe actually gonna be China favored. You're just gonna be able to boom in your little base, just wall off, let relics be, like you can have 0 relics and you're fine if you just expand very well. So I think it's really gonna be all about the early game and how the Chinese player is gonna play it. Because IUB, you know what he's gonna do. He's gonna go fast castle, he's gonna take relics, and then he's gonna try to pressure. But if you can go like second TC for example, try to deny relics a bit left and right, and find an age up, then you can really start shining with Chinese siege and I mean just China, right? It's really good in castle age, so whatever you can do, it's gonna work.
So basically what I just heard there is the 5 out of 10 creativity pit might be appropriate for this particular game. I wonder though, maybe Ben's got something else in mind. I mean, we can't take anything away from him, right? He just done the unthinkable. Eastern Contract, the most underused of all the Byzantine choices. I'd say makes up about 5% of games, and yet he was able to come out with a very clean looking build. Let's see if he can do it again. If he's got someone in mind to take the lead in this set, or if Anotand is going to get back in front as we head into Frisian Marshes for game number 3.
And in we go, folks. One apiece in this elimination match between DeMu and Anotand. Anotand with the color yellow as the Chinese. And to the north, we have DeMu playing as the Iobids in purple. And as it is the case in every single game that we play on Frisian Marshes, it's a race for all these sheep out here at the very beginning.
2 things to say. Terrible scouting pattern again from DeMu, so things never change. And he doesn't deserve only 5 on 10 on creativity. I think DeMu deserves more. I think historically, in the game, he's one of the players I was actually looking at the most because I feel like usually Penny sucks at maybe like, in my opinion, right? Like for me, in my standards, maybe he sucks maybe at like 70% of the matchups, but usually like the other 30% of the matchups, I think he is one of the best at it in the world. So I think he has actually some really good ideas sometimes, you know. So I don't really think it's worth 5 out of 10 on creativity. I think it's unfair.
Well, it's the players that still participate casting their votes, and it's sometimes difficult, right? Because, yeah, I think I agree. But at the same time, you know, some of the players will say, oh, yeah, compared to DeMu, you have some players that are substantially more creative. I think a good example is Mista, who's not participating in this, but some players will cast their votes considering that, right? Like, compared to Mista, who just comes up with those unreasonably weird builds, obviously DeMu is much more of a meta player.
It depends which thief, for example. Like, to me, since the release of the game, I don't understand how DeMu plays archery. I think he plays it like a totally stupid. It doesn't make any sense to me, but he has been always doing pretty well with archery, even before like it's. I mean, he got very buffed recently, so obviously everyone is doing good with archery now. But before that, he was one of the good archery players. So I still think like he has his own style, you know. He has his own approach to some thieves, and to most thieves, I agree. He just plays normal and he doesn't bring much. But I would say yeah, Mista obviously is a 10 of creativity. To me, it's the only guy that deserves a 10. But then below this, I think people like DeMu, Vortex, and Lucifron are actually bringing a lot to the meta in pretty much every tournament.
That's an interesting thought. But while we're talking about DeMu specifically, I actually wanted to ask you about this because one thing I've seen with DeMu is that there are tournaments where he starts out very slow, but once he's like facing elimination, like he's doing in this series, for instance, he's delivering some of his best performances. We've seen this so many times. In a group stage, he ends up losing to a player that he was expected to beat. And then when it's an elimination game in a GSL group stage, he comes in and dominates. Like, what do you think about this? Is he really a player that delivers his best when he needs it the most?
No, I don't think so. I think it's literally random. And I think he thinks the same too. Like, sometimes he's just terrible and you have no explanation. And sometimes he's really playing well and he doesn't really know why he's playing well because maybe he's sick at the same time or whatever. And he has no logical explanation behind it. But I think it's literally random, and I think DeMu would agree about it. He doesn't know what's happening with himself sometimes. He's just terrible, and sometimes he's amazing, and it's totally random. And I thought God, it's true. Like, I talked to him about it, and he was like, yeah, I don't get it. Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna do great. Like the last time he played BC, it was in Master of Realms, I guess, in quarterfinal. He was like, yeah, I feel good. I know the matchups is gonna be great. And then he played terrible like the first 2 games. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just don't have it, you know. So yeah, it's pretty sad, right? Because when it happens to you, you just feel terrible. You play a terrible series and you don't really know why. It's really heartbreaking as a player.
Yeah, I know. It happens to me every single time. I don't think I ever played a series that wasn't terrible.
That's another story.
You know, there's a reason why I'm not playing in this, right?
Yeah. It is what it is. You're a good caster, so it's fine.
Aww. Anyway, Barbican coming in here for Anotand. It's quick Song Dynasty for him. No one on stone for either of these players, so it's a 1TC build for the time being for both. But it's gonna be a Horseman opening for DeMu. He went up with Growth. How do you feel about that?
Kind of surprising. But at the same time, Military got nerfed, and Growth got nerfed in Castle H. So if he goes Growth into Fast Castle with a Culture Wing, I will not be surprised. It's been more and more popular, but the problem is that your opponent is already on Dynasty. So the Barbican is gonna defend him, and his economy is starting to grow very fast, right? He can get some free IO, and he can get some faster villager production. So I feel like the plan from DeMu is already pretty bad.
He's doubling down archers plus horsemen out here. Not a single piece of army production from Anotand just yet. He's actually going for the IO upgrade. But beyond that, he's just playing a very, very tight and condensed game. So what's the plan here for him?
I mean, Anotand is just gonna be happy about getting all the upgrades and just defending. He's gonna wait to see what DeMu does, I think. For now, we can see DeMu is 4 on gold. So it probably means he still wants to go for a Fast Castle. Since he's already on a Wheelbarrow, he's not gonna make any other eco upgrades. So I guess it's a heavy pressure into everything on food and try to go Fast Castle. That will make sense. And then you go for all the relics, and you probably maybe try to even dive at some point.
Well. So far, it's just going to be Chugenu. Very, very defensive game. This actually starts to remind me a little to game number 1. We had a somewhat similar matchup at the end of the day. It was a Horseman. Well, at that time it was Ghazi Raiders, but Horseman plus Archer style composition from DeMu. and Anotand was playing heavy into the Ju-Genu. Difference is that this time around he's doing it with the Chinese instead of the Ju-Shi. And the other difference is that DeMu is going to take all the shorefish for himself, something that Anotand has yet to do.
Yeah, he's gonna be blocked a bit in his base, but he's making a lot of Zugenu. So normally, at some point, he will be able to go out. That being said, it's weird because obviously it's not gonna be 2TC China. So it's not gonna be like he's gonna have a big economy. It's just gonna be slightly bigger than DeMu. And then he's gonna face castle unit, which is gonna be a big problem. So I really wonder what he's gonna do. Like maybe he's just gonna go 1TC pressure and pressure DeMu while he's going age up. That could create some idle time on the fish economy or like the gold economy, for example. That could be a good idea.
Yeah, we've seen that, I think, last weekend in the Corvinus series. On this map, same kind of an approach. You had a player trying to rush Castle Age here, and if you can hit that gold mine that's just offset to the side, that could be such a good target. Anotand opts to go for a new scout. He lost his original one. That just goes to show how much he values his vision, but at the same time, DeMu is already up, and Anotand has yet to move out of his base here, so he might just be missing this timing.
I think for now it's fine. He's gonna have to attack very soon though, because like you already want to hit the timing where you deny the gold, and then your opponent doesn't have any things to make any upgrade. But for example, like if you just make Mazugenu against pretty much anything except knights, you're gonna be fine. So I mean, Zugenu is just a different kind of unit, you know. It's just very good against pretty much everything, even against mana towns. So Gulams in this case. But as we see, DeMu is going for a second stable. So Anotand is really gonna have to add some spearman if he wants to really pressure.
Castle Age about to hit here for DeMu. He does have a stable already, so he can start queuing Camel Lancers the moment he hits Castle. But at the same time, no defensive tower or anything nearby here, and this is just a beautiful target for Anotand. So many villagers on the fish and the gold, and as he said, he needs to dive the moment he sees DeMu reaching Castle Age. DeMu himself going for archers, and this is where Anotand gets the confirmation. He needs to go because it's gonna be Castle Age in a second for DeMu. Camel Lancers queued immediately, but DeMu has to flee the gold mine.
Oof, okay. I don't like that. That's a big gamble. You can go just go on your food economy under your TC and you're fine.
And look at what
Such a
Anotand is
massive
doing.
gamble.
He's looking for them. He saw the mill, so he knows villagers were there. He's looking for them with the scout. Villagers were detached to this spawn, and look at that game sense from Anotand. Finds it immediately.
Yeah, so now how do you proceed? You just try to surprise him? I guess you do. He's gonna even scare the goal, I think. Yeah. DeMu is expecting the Zugenu to move out, but maybe not on the fish part. So that's gonna be a weird one. He's already behind in the economy, right? So it's not like he's ahead. So you should be very careful. Oh my god, that's a ram. I'm not sure about it. Ram is pretty stupid, I think, in this case. You just want to kill your opponent, but it's never gonna work because he's not gonna let him self-die, you know? So you just have to make more units and either age up or just make more units like spears to make sure your army is complete.
His Camel Lancer is doing a good job tanking up the arrow fire, but DeMu doesn't have more gold to invest into Camel Lancers. So if he doesn't clean this up, he's gonna be in big trouble, and the final Camel Lancer is about to fall. Archers doing a decent job firing from the back line, but this is not the entire group of Ju-Genu. There's a group on the far left that's chasing villagers all the way around. DeMu's position looks so sad. He's got nowhere to go with these vills.
Yeah, if they survive, it's okay, I think, but that's still a lot of idle. He could just have run to under his TC, and then you can move out on the map once you're safe. And he's pretty much safe now, so that's pretty sad, right? He just had to be a little bit patient. But he wasn't, so now he's paying the high price for it, a lot of idle time.
Yeah, let's not forget, Anotand is still Feudal Age here, so these are Feudal Age units against veteran archers. Camel Lancer not being focused down, it's tanking up a lot of damage. Archers being traded to the Ju-Genu. And at the end of the day, you really gotta credit DeMu. He has not lost a single villager in this game. Kill count for Eco is still 0-0.
Yeah, that's very good. He was able to run away. He's gonna make a few more... Does he have a market or what? Like, how does he have gold? He has 4 villagers on gold, I know, but it still feels like he's getting more gold than what he should.
I think he had a market close to his wood line.
I see, yeah, it makes sense. He's only on +1/+1, so he's gonna want more than that. He's gonna want +2/+2, obviously. He has a lot of archers, they are already upgraded, but no, his wood line is not safe. so he has to be really careful. Not lose any villagers. Anotand's economy is obviously very good, as we know. He has a lot of gold from the tax. He has 4 IOs, and he has more villagers. So that's gonna be a problem for DeMu.
Taking the shore fish, though. So,
Yeah.
are you surprised about that?
I think the scouting pattern was a big deal, because now I think he has just more fish, more ships than DeMu. So he's actually still on a ship, and then he's gonna go on berries, plus then he's gonna go on fishing. So he's just fine, I think, because he had a lot of ship economy.
Anotand just fully locked in on this Jugenu play. Still has 41 of those out. Also mixing in some spears to deal with the Camel Lancers, but once again, he's fighting into veteran units. And these archers, they're just so good when it comes to picking apart his army. DeMu is also back on gold, so he can once again afford these Camel Lancers.
It's not the hunt upgrade, right? It's proxy scouts, this upgrade. I'm not stupid, no?
That's Pro Scout.
Yeah.
That's Pro Scouts from Anotand.
That's crazy. I think it's a misclick. There is no way it's actually a good idea to go for scout. You don't have any stable, so you have no scouts.
He's got one scout. I don't get it.
Yeah. No, it's a mistake for sure. Like, he just meant to click maybe the hunt upgrade, but he clicked pro scouts. I don't know.
Even the hunt upgrade is weird. He doesn't actually have any deer to work with.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, that's an expensive investment that's completely useless right now. He's still diving DeMu's base, however. He still has 40 plus Chukanu to work with. And DeMu is once again getting pushed away from this gold mine.
Yeah. I mean, I really think he shouldn't have made any rams, and he should just make a lot of units, and then he can just run around DeMu's base, and he could even go into the wood line and kill him. He could do anything pretty much, and it would be good. So making rams will slow down your army, and you would have to attack a particular position on the base to make it worse, and that would be not very smart, I think. So you just make a lot of units, you trade him, and you can just run around his base, like what he's doing right now. He's killing villagers left and right.
And this is key. DeMu was able to slip out, and this is something that Anotand is unaware of. Anotand doesn't know that DeMu is out, and DeMu is actually collecting relics too into that proxy monastery. This is so important, because at the same time, DeMu doesn't have a lot of troops back at home. He went for the second range defense, but that upgrade hit just after he lost most of his archers. He's down to just 15 archers against 50 Jugenu.
Yeah, he's making 3 rams with it to actually kill the production. But yeah, he could just dive right now and win the game normally. You just have to make sure you take a good fight. And normally you don't take any bad fight against like 1/3 of your supply. You can just only A move and you're gonna be fine. Just make sure the TC is not destroying your army. So fight under it, but not for too long.
Dive comes in here with the rams, and it doesn't seem like DeMu has the troops he needs to deal with this. It's only 20 archers against 60 Chukanu. And really, these Chukanu are field-like units, but this is quantity over quality at this point. And the Rams, they're starting to knock away at this landmark even.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's really smart or not. I feel like you just go around and you kill all the stable, all the archery range, and you're gonna be fine. But this, I mean, eventually if you kill it, it's amazing, right? But it takes so long to actually be worse that your opponent is gonna make more upgrades, more archer, and the age of difference is gonna be bigger, right? But at the same time, he's gonna go on the left with a few units. I think he's gonna be fine, yeah. He's playing it well enough.
Camel Lancers breaking out once again, but it's just way too many Chukanu to deal with. At this point, this is a single unit composition, if I can call it that. And behind this, let's not forget, Anotand has been building up an eco lead with Song Dynasty as well. He's sitting at 150 population as 80. This is looking so grim for DeMu now.
Yeah, it's looking really bad. I don't really know what to do. Yeah, okay, one Mangonel could make it, but the problem is that really, the moment you see a Mangonel, you either decide you're gonna dive it with good micro, and you could actually dive it with the Genu. Good micro, I said. Or you go Castle Age.
Yeah, now that's cost curse indeed, because good micro wasn't really there for Anotand. He eats 2 big mangonel shots, especially the first one was massive. Ram still trying to take out the landmark here. DeMu committing a couple of villagers to the repairs, only 2 rams remain. Gulam's also being mixed in here, but At the same time, DeMu's got other problems. He's got 0 food eco, and he mismicros the Mangonel, pushing it way too far out. That is a loss that he couldn't afford.
And on top of that, right, like he saw the Mangonel and he was like, okay, I'm gonna go castle to make sure I'm safe. And he still lost the Mangonel, so terrible trade from DeMu. He totally mismicroed, I'm not sure what he was doing, but he did a mistake. Oh my god, he lost another Mangonel. He didn't cancel it, sadly. He just lost the full cost. And yeah, good trade from DeMu under the TC obviously, but he's gonna be facing a castle player soon. He's on 4 relics to be fair, that's a good point. But yeah, he's gonna have a problem, right? He's gonna lose a lot of army and villager.
And that's an expensive dive from Anotand, though. He's just not getting veterancy for the Jugenu, but he lost half of his army. At the same time, DeMu is suffering so much from this. But as I'm saying that, Anotand has 36 idols too, so he's probably focused on microing these troops, but he didn't actually help his own eco either. Looks like DeMu is actually going to clean up most of these troops.
I would be surprised if he was actually microing his army. It was not very good micro here. Zugen were doing not too well. A lot of overkills. But yeah, it's enough, right? He's just too far ahead. He killed a lot of villagers. Yet he's gonna be on 5 relics. But the relics are not even safe, right? So it's gonna be a position that is not even gonna be safe for DeMu. And he's just gonna go knights now, I guess. Upgrade. He's gonna go for the hunt upgrade now after he. Oh, okay, that's a good attempt. I like it.
I mean, DeMu is trying to return the favor from game number 1 over there because he lost 17 villagers by the end. And that's massive. Anotand already had a villager lead from Song Dynasty. Now you have 17 villagers lost too. Armies have been reset pretty much, and DeMu does have the 5 relics, as you touched on it. But at the same time, Anotand does have that Chinese eco with 4 Imperial officers. He's got Shorefish to work with. 5 relics is just not enough to compensate for that.
Yeah, not at all. But we'll see. Maybe DeMu can make some magic work. Like he's gonna go for some cavalry. So cavalry is always good if you want to actually deal economic damage. Yeah, I don't know, like when I'm trying to hype him up, it's gonna be hard, I don't know. He's gonna make a lot of archers with cavalry, which is a very good combination usually. He's already on +2 armor, he misses only +2 attacks. He has the IU upgrades that is allowing you to get more damage when you kill units and some movement speed. That's very good. Okay, another dive from Anotand. He's gonna trade a few units again. Not the best trade.
He keeps diving under this DC, and DeMu, he's stalling out the game for the time being. Still only on 1 DC, so recovering all those eco losses will be a challenge. But I guess the silver lining for him is that Anotand didn't find these villagers out there, and Anotand didn't find the monastery being out there with 5 relics inside.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of surprising because it's 100% out there, right? You saw the base 100 times, you know there is no monastery there, so it must be on the map somewhere.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be fair, like he took the sacred site, so maybe at some point Anotand will go there and see the mosque.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Anotand has been in front of DeMu's base for a long time, so he should know that there was no way that DeMu could sneak out and bring back the relics home. The relics have to be out there somewhere. Anotand seems quite unfazed about that for the time being. And to DeMu's credit, he's been kind of harvesting all these resources across the map, and he's been getting away with it. Point is that he needs to continue getting away with it if he wants to get back into this game.
Yeah, surely. If he loses any villagers extra, he's gonna be digging his hole furthermore. He's taking the berries on the map, he's making a Mongol, but he's gonna be facing Palace Guard and Knights, Crossbow and Zugenu. Like, Anotand already has a strong army. So, I mean, he's just missing some siege, I guess. You just make like one nest of bee or 1 spring gold with it and you are totally fine. Once he has this, he's gonna be in a very dangerous position.
He doesn't seem to be supervising a lot of these production buildings, so that's part of the reason why his build-up of Lancers and Men-at-Arms is a little on the slower side. Looks like DeMu is looking for a fight here. Mangonel coming up. You also have a couple of stealth forests over here, so you gotta be cautious with line of sight, especially on that Mangonel. Anotand does have a scout somewhere, but I think Anotand's line of sight here is very short.
Yeah, they are both a little bit blind, but I mean, DeMu, it's kind of weird that he's pushing, right? But at the same time, you have to see it this way. He doesn't have the choice. He's just too far behind in the economy. So yes, his army is not too good, but he has to do something with it. Or otherwise, he could as well leave, you know, like, he needs to try to find a fight. And he's trying to find a fight. It's not too bad, but is it gonna be enough? I don't think it's gonna be good enough now.
Yeah, Jugenu close the distance. Mangonel is still alive. It's still being repaired by villagers. Nice Mangonel shot here by DeMu to try and equal this fight out, but the Jugenu, the Lancers, the Palace Guards, that just feels way too overwhelming. And DeMu will need to pull these villagers from the front line here as well, already down by 60 population, and that gap could grow even more. Mangonel once again doing its best to deal with these Jugenu, but it's gonna get cleaned up. That's the only Mangonel that DeMu had. The villagers now have to flee, and there's a second wave behind this. More Palace Guards are coming, more Lancers are coming. It looks very much like Anotand is going to be the player that moves on to match point first.
Indeed, there is no way you can come back from this position. Anotand is good. He's gonna be snowballing accordingly. But we have to say DeMu is one of the guys that likes to never leave the game. We can remember one of the game against Cat last season on the water map like Archipelago. That was a painful one to watch. But this one, it's a land map. Anotand is a very, very strong player. So I'm quite sure he's just gonna be able to snowball once he takes one more fight.
Trades still continuing over here. Anotand getting more and more Palace Guards on the field. He's still facing a lot of crossbows, so these Palace Guards will be short-lived.
Oh, look at the bottom side of the map. I think he found some economy with villagers, no?
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
I did.
you're absolutely correct there. Finally, the villagers bump into each other, and there is already a tower out there. So Anotand sees what's up, and he's going to send a couple of Palace Guards down there.
Yeah.
That was basically DeMu's lifeline. Those villagers being out there on the shorefish, the berries, the gold. If he loses them, that's probably the dot in the eye.
Yeah. Also made a spring hold to make sure you cannot go Mass Mangonel. That's funny. Runs further in to make sure you're not getting caught. But that's too late, I think. I think Anotand is not gonna get surprised by this move. It's pretty much the last move them you can do to save his villagers. Oof. He's pretty much on half the economy. That's terrible. So yes, he has 5 relics, which is amazing. But that's gonna be painful.
Yeah, that's going to look so grim. I mean, 40 villagers discrepancy in the favor of Anotand already. And DeMu is about to lose a lot of eco out there, potentially. Camel Lancer is making a new appearance here for DeMu. That's the unit that he hopes will get him back into this game. But the concern is that lack of eco. And again, the monastery with 5 relics inside is still out there. That's something that Anotand could destroy any moment.
You will need to send something big though. Like maybe you just send a ram from the clock tower. So it's gonna take a while to go there, but you don't want to actually spend your army on this position. It's too much in the left side of the map. So you could actually get run by it or stuff like that if you actually go with a lot of your army. But yeah, it's a position you could for sure try to attack.
And villagers now fleeing across the map here for DeMu. Palace Guards is going to be the primary backbone of Anotand's army. He's getting some Nest of Bees going as well. Now has Springolds too, so that one Mangonel, or Manjanik I should say, from DeMu isn't going to amount too much. So if you're DeMu, what's the reason for you staying in this game? Is it saying, okay, I got 5 relics, I still haven't been completely annihilated? Like, what's the mindset here for DeMu? What is he believing in?
I mean, relics, yes. But he knows his opponent is on 100 or like at least 90 villagers. He knows like it was a fast dynasty. So it's a minimum 1 TC play dynasty, right? So he knows right now he's at least behind 30, 40 villagers considering he lost a lot. So, I mean, just playing for good fights, good trades. And if he keeps going for good trades and good fights, maybe at some point he gets to like 100 villagers. Maybe he can go like, I don't know actually, like, he doesn't have Future Wing as a choice for H4, so he would have to go military, which is very expensive. So I don't know, like he's just hoping for very good fights, right? And a lot of mistakes from his opponents.
And trades once again beginning over here. So many villagers caught in the crossfire here. DeMu has 50 villagers in total, but half of them are just running headlessly around here. And this is definitely seen by Anotand. Anotand needs to know that DeMu is basically evacuating his base.
Yeah, he wants to go for some gold or what, like some more food maybe? I'm not sure. Where are they going? On fish? That's crazy.
I don't. Maybe they're running to the next map.
Yeah, that's what DeMu likes to do actually. He likes to take all the villagers and to send them to a berry pack or something random on the map. He doesn't like to make any farm transition. He's like, you know, I'm just gonna have full villagers on fish, and when they're dead, I'm gonna go on the berry and then on the boar, and if that kills me, it's fine, but that's what I'm gonna do. A big blob of villagers.
Yeah, I wonder how many villagers DeMu has in his base at this point.
Wood, I guess. 2 wood line and that's it. Yeah, he has another wood
Yeah,
line.
this base looks a little deserted, if I may
Yeah.
say so.
He's playing Mongols. His own way.
Well, you cannot pick up your buildings over here, so that's not going to be that easy. But yeah, Anotand, he lost a lot of his troops, but he still has a couple of knights roaming the map, and those are finding these villagers. It was pretty obvious that DeMu was leaving his base. It was very well visible for Anotand, so he knows exactly where to look. He's going to target these villagers continuously, and DeMu has been at 55 to 50 villagers for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah. And finally, maybe, I'm not even sure if he actually finally is gonna die. Like, his army is still pretty close, so maybe he can actually defend. But obviously there is an army run by, so it's not like his army is there at this spot. He's gonna try to attack, but there is a castle, so there is no way you can actually attack.
Yeah, now these villagers are getting caught in the crossfire. They just have to flee across the map. And to be fair, even if they live, they aren't gathering resources at this point. DeMu just has nowhere to go.
He has nowhere to go, and he's gonna find a granary transition. So he's gonna be like, okay, maybe this guy is he has a very good economy, and he has a very good economy, rightfully.
You know, my palace guards are closing in on these villagers, just archers out there for DeMu. DeMu's got only 6 crossbows on the field, not much that can deal with these palace guards, and again, his eco is just getting absolutely obliterated. He broke into Anotand's base as well, but Anotand barely lost the villagers here. Once again, Lancers are moving up, and there's just nothing that DeMu can do here, you feel. It's getting cleaned up all across the map. It's 72 population against double that amount, and with that, DeMu's finally going to tap out. Anotand moves on to match point. DeMu faces elimination.
Yeah, pretty good game from Anotand, I think. He played it pretty well. I think DeMu's game plan was just losing, right? Like nothing special happened. He just got pushed, and he was in a terrible position from this part of the game. So I guess it's just a bad idea what he did. Maybe just going military into echoing, like the good old days, would be nice, but I'm not sure. It's a weird matchup, and obviously military wing got nerfed, eco wing in age 3 got nerfed, so maybe it's this kind of things that you are like, yeah, I'm not gonna go for the good old strategy.
Well, with that, Anotand moves on to match point. After losing to Lucifron 3-2 in a winner's bracket, he keeps his hopes alive of going all the way to the very end and maybe securing a spot in the LAN. But of course, this is not the only matchup that has been going on. We also have 3 more elimination matches going on while we are watching this. In fact, I should say it's only 2 elimination matches because there is already one final result. But production refuses to show the brackets, so I guess we can't talk about it. Okay, there we go. So, Anotand versus DeMu. Anotand at match point. DeMu facing elimination. Winner of this series will face Vortex after Vortex took out Louis MT 3-2. Killjoy versus CSO at 1 apiece, and Baltoon leading against Zerton 2-1. I don't think we had the time to talk about Baltoon yet, but he took off the game from Beastie. Now he's leading against Zerton. He's definitely one of the players that improved a lot recently, so how do you feel about his recent performances?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see many games. I just know he's doing pretty much normal playstyle, just being solid and trying to improve slowly but steadily. So that's a pretty good way to become one of the best, so props to him. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't see any of his game in details, you know? So I just know he's a good player.
Well, that's a good executive summary. If
Yeah.
he were to win, he would face off against CSO or Killjoy. We could have that Scandinavian showdown, the Finnish player Killjoy versus Baltoon from Sweden. The last round, of course, we will also cover today. That is going to be the round of 4 from the lower bracket. Vortex is already awaiting his opponent. It's either going to be DeMu or Anotand. So it's going to be interesting, especially if Anotand wins this series. Anotand, he lost against Lucifron, and he's going to face off against the Vortex on the lower bracket. Assuming he wins against DeMu, of course.
Yeah. That's pretty hard. That's a very hard day. You start your day, you barely lose against Lucifron, and then you have a close one against DeMu, and then you have to beat Vortex. That's an exhausting day. I think experience will come in, like maybe he's gonna start to play a little bit worse. Who knows? But he's a guy who plays a lot, so who knows? Like maybe he's just gonna do fine.
Well, of course, DeMu is going to have a lot to say about that. He is not done with this series just yet. He's down a game, but he does have Japanese under his command, Kawasan being game number 4 here. But it's a do or die for DeMu. This could be his last game in the online stage of Red Bull Wololo El Reinado, as we're heading into Kawasan to take a look at a Japanese versus Abbasids matchup.
Yeah, I really like this matchup for Japanese usually. Like I feel like if you don't make any mistake as Japanese, you're just gonna win this matchup pretty much all the time. But mistakes can be very easily done in the early part of Feudal. So I guess I will let you introduce the player first.
Well, indeed, we have DeMu here now facing elimination down south with the color purple in command of the Japanese. On the other side, Anotand with the color yellow as the Abbasids. And the thing I wanted to ask you about is Japanese on this map. It feels like we are seeing every single game on Kawasan having at least one player picking Japanese here. So I have 2 questions for you. Number one, are we still believing in this standard Shinobi meta? Is it really that powerful that Japanese is just a can't miss civilization here? And number 2, what does Anotand need to do to deal with such a Shinobi aggression, let's say?
I think it's not only Shinobi, it's Shinobi plus Fast Castle meta on this map. Plus you play for 2 lakes, so you're gonna make most likely a lot of fishing ship. So it's a lot of good advantage that Japanese has on this map, but yeah, Shinobi are part of it obviously. I mean, usually it's simple, like you do pretty well on water in Feudal. Then you have a slight advantage, you get to castle faster than your opponent, you can get more relics, and since you're slightly ahead, you get control of the middle part of the map, which is full of berries, which is amazing for Japanese, and then you can just push and kill your opponents. That's pretty much what happens in most of the Japanese game, and Japanese is very good at that.
It's going to be a military wing opening here by Anotand,
Yeah.
as kind of expected. He's going to have those spearmen and archers out there. I think one of the things I've seen to be very tricky trying to use the military wing against the shinobi is the DP of the shinobi. They do get a bonus damage against the spearmen or melee units, so spearmen really are no match for them. But with proper micro, you can basically just jump the archers with the DP, right?
Yeah, but usually I would say you need 3 shinobi to actually take on the 2 archer and 2 spears. Archer are doing very good against shinobi, so you kill them very fast, but they kill you very fast, and they have some extra range, so not easy to kill. Anotand actually went for the no dock early play. He went for like a fast feudal, totally normal, and then you make a dock, and then you actually start pressuring the map, which is decent. But I think if you play well from the Japanese side with what DeMu is doing, you should be fine. Wait, what? He's making the storehouse?
Okay. Yeah, like, I had a sense that at some point someone's gonna pivot away from the Shinobi meta, and apparently that's going to be DeMu here, Kura Storehouse. A lot of those spots for farms to spawn are blocked, so this is going to be more of a wood trickle structure at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see the point. You're gonna lose the lake, I think, just because of that. You need your shinobi to help winning the lake, and if you don't make shinobi, you're gonna have to make an archery range, I'm not sure, like, you're gonna have to make something to actually defend the dock, right? So, yes, you're gonna have this economy bonus, but you're gonna have to make more army because of it. So in the end, it's not even that good of an economical bonus.
Well, Anotand, I guess he was preparing for the Shinobi. That's what you see 9 out of 10 times on this map. But he does have double docks as well, courtesy of the Abbasid discount on the docks. It's going to have one ship in queue, no second ship in queue on the other dock. And look at that mining camp is already being torched down by the scout. Anotand just trying to set himself up to harass that even more. And this is interesting because DeMu doesn't have any land-based units to defend with. These two spearmen and archers, they can do quite some damage here in terms of harassment.
Yeah, he's gonna go on the gold first, and then he's just gonna make a ram and try to pressure the dock. He's gonna win the first take for sure, so we have to see how he's gonna proceed on the second lake. If he managed to get a lot of fishing ship, that's gonna be fine, but he's already losing a lot, right? A lot of idle time. Oh, that's pretty bad. To lose any HP on your archer.
That mining camp, it has been just left out there. DeMu is now going for a couple of Yumi, but at the same time, his fishing eco is being shut down. He loses the mining camp. I don't know about you, but this feels very, very grim here for DeMu. He can't even afford a Springald ship.
Yeah, no, if Anotand plays well, he should win the game. You just have to play very well the right leg, so make sure you don't lose it. I guess you make one extra Hulk from it. You make a ram eventually to push the left leg, and you make more units to make sure this archery switch is not denying you from the map control. So I guess you go for horseman at some point.
Yeah, first Bugla is out there. The first archer ship just now queued up by DeMu. And that's actually on the second pond he built. He's basically evacuating the original pond that he was on and just giving up on it.
I mean, it makes sense considering he went storehouse, but I really don't like the play. Let's see, I mean, you make a galley already, so maybe he's gonna be able to kill the sneaking dock that is coming this way. And then if you can have one pond against one pond, it's pretty much even. But I feel like you could really ask for an advantage with this matchup, and he's not really looking for the advantage. He's just looking to have an even position. That's pretty sad, I think.
There's 3 Yumi out there for DeMu. On the other side, no additional land-based troops added by Anotand. DeMu is going to get back on his gold mine, but Anotand picked up so much momentum from this early fishing. You often highlight how important it is to secure that one pond, and Anotand was really given this pond on a silver plate.
Yeah, he was for sure. DeMu is gonna make more than one dock, so he's gonna try to retake the pond very fast, the second one, so he can have a good economy. But really, if Anotand, you just put 100% of your economy on your wood right now. You do like double fishing production, and then, or maybe even triple, I'm not sure. And then you just make a lot of units to start taking map controls. Then you make a ram, and you kill the dock of your opponent. Then you're gonna be in a winning position, I think. But if he just wants to play fast castle, maybe it's gonna be a 50-50.
Horseman being mixed in now by Anotand. DeMu doubling down on the Yumi, but he's got no escort for them. Even just 1 or 2 horsemen will clean this up. And behind this, Anotand has been leveraging that fishing eco for quite some time. He doesn't really contest the other pawn, though, so it looks like both players will just get away with a decent amount of fishing.
Yeah, it does look like it. He went for a lot of gold now, Anotand, so it means he doesn't really want to fight. Or at least from what we've seen.
Horseman just slowly cleaning this one up here. DeMu is piling up food. Looks like he's done in Feudal Age. He might be thinking about Castle at this point.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. He saw that his opponent is on gold too, so just want to do the same. And Anotand is behind in resources, which is surprising. I think he should be ahead normally, if he played it accordingly to the plan. Maybe his fish economy was pretty late to start. I guess he's on 7, DeMu must be on 6, considering he only lost 3 fishing ship, so he didn't really lose any economy. It was pretty much a trade. You take the right lake and I take the left one. So it must be an even amount of fishing ship. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I really feel like if you want to play Horseman, you deny the archer of your opponent. He's gonna go fast castle, you can go ram, and you can start pressuring the dock while going castle yourself. But Anotand didn't go for that.
Yeah, DeMu actually has quite a few villagers back at home on the farms, so I guess that's part of the reason why he had a somewhat higher food bank compared to his opponent. But still, the difference in the castle age timings is going to be massive. Don't forget that we're looking at Abbasid's horsemen now move in, though. They do pinch one villager. Second one is also surrounded here. That's actually quite a lot of villagers dead overall. Let's not forget, this is only two... Well, this is 2 villagers, but DeMu also lost 3 fishing boats before.
Yeah. I mean, 2 villagers, it's obviously big, but Anotand is very, very far from castle, so maybe he's just gonna suffer from the first few nights. We have to see if he can get a full wall in time or not, and then maybe he can be safe. Oh, that's a pretty smart one. I think it's seen.
It's a sneaky dock, or at least it wanted to be, but it does get scouted by DeMu just in time. Arrow ship trying to focus down the villager, but the arrow split is something that's haunting DeMu over here because the villager does not get sniped down in time. Dock goes up, and a demo, is that going to be committed immediately? Nope, it's just camping the dock. Anotand is opening with a galley though, so he could snipe it immediately.
But the problem is the same as the game we've seen earlier. The guy that is attacking is actually not clicking castle, and the guy that is getting attacked is already castle. So now you can invest safely into defending your lake, and your opponent is gonna have to invest his castle age up money pretty much into the fight if he wants to fight. So it's a terrible timing for Anotand to do that.
Yeah, he's gonna click up to castle age just now, but this galley is gonna go down from him. Meanwhile, DeMu retains this one junk on his side. Mounted Samurai are coming in, though. You do have the floating gate, so Yorishiro will be boosting the production of your Mounted Samurai. And at the same time, you also have that Shinto Priest out. So DeMu's getting a lot out of this castle age timing. He's going to have the Mounted Samurai, and he's already bringing relic number 1 back at home.
Yeah. Japanese is good, man. It's really, really good. This timing at castle age, it's really something else. And right now he's gonna get an advantage because of it. He's gonna kill the villagers. He's gonna make sure the pawn is safe.
A nice find here by DeMu. Culture Ring on the way here for Anotand, but is still a minute away, and that is that just feels so long when DeMu is already in castle age. He's got 5 Mounted Samurai going. Luckily for Anotand, he's got the walls complete, so at least the Mounted Samurai cannot start slaughtering wills.
Yeah, just need a good wall. Something we could also point out for late game, but I don't think Anotand is gonna do it. I think Abbasid is one of the best late game Civ against Japanese because you can go Mass Camel Archer against Japanese. And it's one of the best units you can do. It's good against any infantry, and Japanese is known for like its infantry. So I hope that if he goes for any range units, he goes for some Camel Archer. I think that's very, very niche, but it's very, very strong against Japanese.
Ultra Rank finally hits over here for Anotand. He does have a lot of resources in the bank, so he can start pumping out units immediately. For now, both players sitting on 1 bond apiece. These Mounted Samurai, they've always been a dangerous unit. Luckily, if you're Anotand, you have a lot of different units that can deal with that. Crossbows are very much beloved by the Abbasids, or maybe even Camel Riders. If you were in his position, would you consider going Camel Riders here, seeing that DeMu has basically nothing but the Mounted Samurai?
If you think he's going Mounted Samurai plus, what's the name, Archer, you just go Crossbow and Knights and you will win. I think Crossbow will destroy the front line so much that you just win the fight too much on the front line, and then Knights are gonna kill, obviously, the back line. So you just go like maybe one Camel Archer to have the debuff, full Knights, and then you go full Crossbow, I think. And you have a good army comp against this.
It was complete just in time, so DeMu cannot break in there. Quick Wars also snapping to the gold mine helps a lot here. Anotand does have his first couple of crossbowmen coming out.
Also, I think he should have walled the right side of the map. He won the right lake, usually it means you can wall the right side, and he could totally control one of the relics, which is actually a big deal. You really don't want to let your opponent get all the relics for free. So it could have been a possibility, but he didn't do it.
Now you have the veteran spearman out there supported by the crossbowmen, and DeMu is just now starting to mix in some Yumi. This could be dicey for him. He's getting pushed away from here. And he's yet to make a unit that can actually deal with what Anotand has. Looks like Samurai for a moment thought about standing and fighting, but they all changed their mind very, very quickly here. DeMu's still just going full mounted Samurai. He only has 4 Yumi to work with.
Yeah, he's mishandling his economy a bit. He has so much food. But right now he needs a lot of food and he wants to make a lot of archer to make sure his composition is a good combination. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he's, yeah, I guess having that many farms is very useful, but you kind of bait yourself by going on food a bit too heavily.
Yeah, he's got a lot of food, and you know, it's quite unusual at this stage of the game on a Kawasan map where both players still have a good food eco from the water that's not being harassed. And D was actually making a Springald. Do you think it's actually to snipe? I mean, Anotand might be bringing in Siege. Is DeMu just preemptively countering that, or is this to try and contest upon by using the Springald to snipe ships with?
I think it's both. Usually the meta on this map is to take the middle and then you make Springald to actually kill the pawn of your enemy. So I guess he is anticipating this move because Abbasid obviously is one of the best civs to actually go siege, since you can just make infantry and make siege from it. Okay, that's pretty bad. He's gonna lose a few villagers.
Was just a little too late. Love the body block from the scout. It's all the villagers going down here, and a wall is going to remain wide open. At the same time, a lot of walls are coming up from Anotand. He's sectioning the map off very nicely, especially that right side where you have so much gold to work with.
Yeah, and he can still go for 2 relics, 2 on the map that are pretty close to his base. So Anotand could end up with 2 relics, which is totally fine. You're very happy with this outcome as Abbasid, I think.
Yeah, Springald now trying to focus down those combat ships here, but Anotand is looking to dive, and he's got a scary army. Lancers, Gulam, crossbows, spearmen. It's a very versatile and diverse army. And DeMu's going to get pushed away from the gold mine. Now, one thing that Anotand doesn't really have is all of his forces right here. He's got his army scattered across the map. Lancers raiding, spearmen detached from the crossbows. Looks like he's going to change his mind and fall back for the time being.
Yeah, and DeMu is starting to transition into Ona Bogeisha, which is the key unit of the matchup. That's why I think Camel Rider, Camel Archer are very good, because against Ona Bogeshas are very good. But if you don't have anything to counter it, it's very, very hard to stop. Even like knights that are supposed to be good against them, if you don't have +2 armor on them, which is not the first upgrade you get, like +2 armor melee, you only get them against Ona Bogeisha. That can be very hard. So Anotand is gonna need to adapt his composition very fast.
He's going very heavy on spears and crossbows, also mixing in some Gulam, but he's done getting some knights out. But boot camp is on the way, and that's going to be a big buff to all of that infantry that he's making.
Yeah, that's a very good point. He's gonna go for some crossbow too, like DeMu. Ona, what is the name?
Onamusha.
Onamusha, yeah. That's a pretty weird unit. I don't think it's very good, but some people like to mix them in like it's crossbow. I think it's a bit... I would prefer to have a crossbow to be fair. Like, I think it's only very good against French and Jeanne d'Arc. Against any other civs, I would prefer to have a normal crossbow.
DeMu looking to flank around with the Samurai, but he's just unable to find any targets. Gotta love how much Anotand is walling here. Like, he's really making it difficult for DeMu to break into his base. And because of that, he can just focus all his infantry to the middle. He's got a tower out there for the vision, might also place a couple of emplacements on it. And he secured all the berries out there, which is just so valuable for the Abbasids.
Yeah, it's very valuable for both civs. It's like the one who gets it is very happy, so... Yeah, getting it as Abbasid, eventually it's gonna be very good. For now, he's still, like, he doesn't need that much food. He is pretty much heavy on wood and gold because he wants to do some siege. But soon he's gonna be able to have all of those berries if he wants to age up or like make a lot of melee units. Or yeah, I guess he will go into Gulams. It's the most logical choice against what DeMu is doing. I think there is a hole.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there were actually 2 holes out there. Yeah. Anotand tried to quick wall the first one, doesn't do the second, and this could be disastrous for him. He's got a couple of spearmen coming back here, but this is exactly what DeMu was looking for. A couple of villagers getting picked off here, but spearmen do come back. DeMu now pulls away the cavalry, but this is just so annoying for Anotand to deal with. Just a couple of these mounted samurai running all across his base.
Yeah, that's some really decent damage. He really doesn't care about his knights anymore, so he just wants to find some damage, and he is doing so.
And he finds the second DC. That's big information. He hasn't scouted that part of the map recently because of the walls. He just now realizes that Anotand is playing 2 TCs.
Yeah, he could have expected it, but for sure, like making sure you know it's there, it's very important. So now you know you're against 2DC, you're as 2DC yourself. You can just play it safely, you know. You don't have to really all in into your opponent. You have the same economy pretty much.
These mounted samurai just still a thorn in the side of Anotand, and DeMu, he's having a really good micro with these. Keeps picking off villagers, gets away, another kill there. Anotand just lost so many villagers to this.
Yeah, and it's not over. Still running around. I mean, to be fair, like, he's not gonna find way more. Like, on the left there is nothing, so we know it, he doesn't. He has 54 on Abu Geisha. That's a lot. That's gonna be a very scary army.
That's just such a scary army, and it does have a Katana Bannerman as well. So you do have that buff for your infantry too. In the meantime, Anotand was building up his Springald count. Anti-siege against his infantry, but also something that he could start using to pick off ships with. These Lancers still a distraction out there, whereas DeMu is now, again, quietly building up this army. His eco is just so much better than Anotand's. He's building that army up, and at the same time, look at the resource bank that he has.
Yeah, Japanese man, it's just very, very strong. Your heroes are very good at this stage of the game. And just all the bonus are adding up together. And now the army, like, literally it's not close. The army of the Muslim is way better. Way, way, way better than Anotand. So, he's gonna push into him, but that's gonna be a problem if he's actually going into a concave. And that seems to be like a bad concave, but it's a concave.
And you look at all the Onabu Geisha swarming in. It was a second wave as well from DeMu. Yeah. So maybe Anotand thought he has the army to beat this, and then suddenly a second wave shows up. Springolds do trade off against each other. Mangonels are rolling up. But really, this is not about the Mangonels. This is not about the Springolds. This is all about that swarm of infantry coming out of DeMu. He's got the Onabu Geisha. He's got the Katana Bannerman buffing as well, and this is just a snowball rolling down here. Look at Anotand flee. It looks like we might be taken into game number 5 here. DeMu not ready to call it a day yet. He wants to have a shot at challenging Marine Lord himself in Castle de Almodovar.
Yeah, and he's even going to age up, so... For now, like, Anotand is gonna be like Oakwork already, and now he's gonna see Imperial, and he's gonna be like, oh my god, it's pretty much over, right? He's just gonna upgrade on Abu Geisha to H4, and then you're totally done. So he's trying to go for the upgrades, right? He went +1 armor, he's gonna get the +2 soon, but he just doesn't have enough, and Imperial upgrades are gonna kick in, so it's gonna be a GG.
There we go. We talked about this a lot, and you highlighted it in the previous game as well. DeMu has his ups and downs, but this was definitely an up game over here. He had the Japanese. There were some interesting moments where he opted to go with the Kura Storehouse instead of playing the classical Koka Township Shinobi game, but it worked out, and this secures another win for him, takes us into a decider game. The winner of the upcoming game is going to have a chance to continue their journey in the online stage of Red Bull Wololo El Reinado. The player that ends up losing the next game is going to be out permanently.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure on their shoulder, but they're used to it, so hopefully they give a last good game. I'm not sure what's left. I guess Rus was left, no? Rus, yeah. Ottoman on Arabia, okay. I think that's pretty hard for Ottoman. That's really pretty hard.
And it's a Rus game again, so you know what? You know where we're going with this. It's going to be a game of bounties, but again, I think this is a good time to take a look at the standings of the brackets, because we have a lot of intense sets going on at the same time. Once again, this is the elimination part of the bracket. We do have a final result come in. We already saw Vortex take out Louis MT 3-2. Vortex survives. And Baltoon, I asked you about him. We haven't really seen much of him in these tournaments before, mainly because he's kind of an under-the-radar player. But he takes out Zerton 3-1, and, you know, he went just as deep as Vortex so far. So, you know, we might need to look at this guy and say, wait a minute, what is he all about?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, for sure, we know he's really, really good. He beat DeMu last week, so you don't beat Benny if you're bad. And he's been doing good overall, like the last few months, let's say. Not something like not anything crazy, but he's just doing pretty good against most good players, and against top players, he has some good close games. So it's what you would expect from an up-and-comer.
Yeah, he's going to be waiting for his opponent CSO or Killjardy. Killjardy up 2-1 right now, so we could have that Scandinavia showdown in the next round. At the same time, Anotand versus DeMu, whoever wins in here, I mean, they don't have much to rest, really, because there is another match today. Vortex is going to play the loser of this set today. That's how the, I guess, organizers of the event drew up the schedule. So whoever wins in here, he's not done yet. The danger of elimination still will loom over their head because Vortex is going to be awaiting them.
Yeah. And DeMu is going to have a pretty hard one. Ottoman against Rus. I don't think it's a terrible matchup. I think it's just slightly favored for Rus. But if you have a terrible map, it can really be hard, I think, for Ottoman. Rus, if you have a bad map, you can just put your Kremlin in a crazy good spot, and then your bad map becomes okay. Kind of like what you do with China and Barbican. So, doable. I think it's doable. I'm curious to see if he goes 2 scouts or 1 scout as Ottoman. We'll see.
Well, we just have 40 seconds left to go here, and really, what a better way to settle this dispute between these two players than a game on Dry Arabia. No shenanigans, just a classic map with classic civilizations. 30 seconds left to go until Anotand takes on DeMu for the last time in this tournament. One of these two players will be knocked out here, and the other will be facing off Vortex later today. But of course, this is not the end of Red Bull Wololo El Reinado, the online stage either, because, you know, this tournament is going to continue tomorrow, same time as usual, 15 GMT, as well as next weekend as well. But it looks like game number 5 is ready. It's time to decide which of these two players will be eliminated in this match. It's 2 apiece in the elimination match of Anotand versus DeMu. DeMu with the Ottomans in purple, and Anotand with the color yellow as the Rus.
Yeah. Okay, both spawns are pretty terrible, I would say. Like, both sides are very hard to play, I think. So at least that's fair in this way. DeMu went 2 scouts. So if you go 2 scouts, you cannot really go military school usually. So that's what he's doing. He's just going 2 scouts fast feudal. Most likely gonna go for the network, like the trade network, because it's just extremely good. You get some free gold, 70 gold per minute, which is very, very good from the start of your feudal. And Anotand, let's see, I will guess you probably go second TC as Rus, but Anotand seems to be very aggressive. So when I said he would go 2 TC as English, he didn't. Maybe here he is gonna go for something different, I'm not sure.
Well, of course, we do have the bounty counter on the left side as well for you folks, so we're going to have to keep track of how Anotand is doing in terms of collecting bounty. But he made 3 scouts, he's already at 70 bounties, so he's already performing reasonably well compared to some other games we've seen back in the past.
Yeah, surely. That's not the best number for now, but it's gonna go up.
Well, he got to 80, so,
Yeah.
okay. That's a good
problem.
start.
You don't have much.
Oh my. I need to stop doing that, but I think like everybody on the chat wants this. It's
Yeah,
just
you have a bunch
sad.
of baboons. I know. But like he's locked for now. He doesn't have any extra hunts. So okay, he got a wolf. That's already big because you really want the first bonus, obviously, as Rus. It's very big.
It's going to be big because it's going to come down to the wheelbarrow timing. You see, DeMu going double scout over here. He's actually pushing away this 1 scout. And I guess this is one of the ways I've looked at it. When you have 2 scouts, you're the one deciding who gets the final shot on the wolf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that just shows why Anotand bailed out on that. He knew that DeMu was going to get the final kill. And you see, Anotand has to age up with the Kremlin without wheelbarrow, which is definitely a sign of a quite underwhelming Dark Age for the Rus player.
Yeah, it's very, very bad. He must be very unhappy about the situation. On top of that, I don't like the position of the Kremlin. I think he could actually secure the hunt with it on top of the gold. He decides to put it next to his TC. He okay, maybe doesn't have a lot of bounty, but he got a good ship amount, which is pretty good against Ottoman. It's a thief that really wants to stay under the TC for a while, so having a lot of ship against them is always decent.
That's a great point to bring up. Yeah. Let's talk about this though. Sotahani trade network coming up here. Is this the landmark you expected from DeMu?
Yeah, I think the other one is just weaker now. Like that's the problem when you do two landmarks that are doing pretty much the same. They are both economical, so if you just make one too strong, the other one become pretty much useless, and that's what happened like pretty much the last 2 years with the network being too bad. And now it's a little bit better. So you just end up seeing only this one.
Yeah, I tend to agree. The neutral market, by the way, is right next to DeMu's base.
Yeah.
But it's more about that garrison potential at the very beginning, right? You kind of highlighted you want to stay underneath your TC. And at the end of the day, you are getting a decent amount of extra eco with this.
Yeah, it's 70 gold and you are just happy about it because you get it from the start of the feudal age. So when you're about to click, let's say at maybe 8-9 minutes, you already got pretty much half, if not more, of your gold that you want to age up with from the landmark, which is amazing, obviously. So you just put a few villagers on gold, you can get wheelbarrow pretty much instantly thanks to the little bit of extra gold you get, and you can get a fast castle going on for yourself just because of this. So I think Ottoman was a bit weak before, but since this landmark buff, I think it's back into the meta pretty well, and it's not a bad sieve or it's not a good sieve, it's just a bit in between.
Well, it's going to be a double TC build here from Anotand. And it looks like DeMu is also moving towards the stone here. So
Yeah.
it's going to be 2 TC versus 2 TC. Means that Anotand, if he's facing 2 TC from the Ottomans, is he going to pull the trigger on a third maybe?
Back in the day, that's what we used to do. Now I feel like if you 2DC against 2DC, you just try to all in your opponent or your fast castle. And I feel like Rus is so good at fast castling that you just go 2DC fast castle. Oh my god, that's terrible, TC. Why?
Interesting idea. It's kind of close-ish to the hunt. It's kind of north-ish to the goal, and it's protecting the back line of the wood line. But to me, it feels a little redundant with this Kremlin.
Yeah, I mean the Kremlin, it could be a little bit further up where the TC is, and then you could put the TC on the deer. But he's gonna have a pretty bad TC. Let's see for DeMu where he goes with it. I guess maybe in between the berries and the deer, yeah. Will make some sense. Oh, he's getting blocked.
Nice body blocks here by Anotand.
He's gonna force an extra meal thanks to that. That's pretty good. I don't know he's happy about that for sure.
Yeah, that's annoying right there for DeMu. He's gonna get harassed. Anotand looks like he's going to just stop at 2 DC, so it's gonna be 2 apiece. Stable now coming in for him. We might see a couple of knights, or I guess it's gonna be knights. No other thing to focus on. Side note here, how do you feel about this? Anotand still doesn't have the wheelbarrow, which is something that the Rus player tries to get as early as basically late Dark Age, but because of that low bounty he had, he still doesn't have it. Do you agree with Anotand prioritizing double products here compared to wheelbarrow?
I mean, to me, it means he wants to make a lot of production. So if he actually plays feudal, it will make sense. But if he doesn't play feudal, it doesn't make any sense, I think. But yeah, look at it, like he has too much on wood, so it means he's gonna go for more production, and it means he's gonna go for an attack, so... Considering his plan, I think it's fine.
First knight on the way here for Anotand. At the same time, DeMu, just no army whatsoever. He does have a vizier point.
Yeah.
We should see in a second what he's going to spend it on. He has yet to spend it, but thanks to our lovely production team, we can show you the bounty counter, we can show you the vizier point counter, so that's something that you can also take a look at the left and the right-hand side of the screen. It looks like Anotand's going to go very heavy on the production, so once again, great call by you. Double stable, double range. It's not something that you see for every 2TC build.
Yeah, I mean on paper it's not very good, but Anotand really likes to attack, so he just wants to put some pressure on the map, which is fine, I think. Especially considering the TC placement, right? You can just pressure the deer pack for sure, with a few archer and a few knights. And Ottoman tends to be a little bit slower compared to Rus. So right now he's gonna make military schools, while Anotand is already full going on his production, and he's gonna make a lot of units. Oof. Okay.
Knights jumping on the villas. Villagers don't
Yeah.
get garrisoned in time. This one might actually die here, but it looks like Anotand is not going to try and pursue it. DeMu first, the Sipahi out. But yeah, I don't know how you feel about this, but I always had this perception that the Ottomans just need so much free space at the beginning for the military schools. Their build-up of the army is so slow.
Yeah, Feudal Age, they're a bit too slow to be good in the current meta. But I think if you reach Castle Age with a decent timing, you're gonna get Sipahi, which in my opinion is the best. I mean, outside of stuff like Kings and some weird unique units, I think the actual best unit in the game is Sipahi, because it's one unit you always do no matter what, even if you are against spikes or whatever, you just do a good combination with it, and you go like Janissaries or Archer, but in the end you still go for full Sipahi, because it's just a bit broken, and it's a very good combination with Janissaries, obviously.
Yeah, DeMu looks like he wants to get to Castle Age over here. He does have the gold he needs. He's a little low on the food department, though. That second TC, as you kind of highlighted, it wasn't the most optimal thing ever. And food could be dicey here. He gets pushed off the hunt. He could potentially be harassed on the berries as well, but looks like Anotand isn't committing. So DeMu's going to get away with this, and he's going to be able to click up to Castle Age soon.
Yeah, I think if Anotand plays it very well, he can just go mass units. You have to go melee units, so you go knights or horsemen with spears. I think you go +1 armor, you don't go for rams, you just dive the tower once you have +1 armor, and then you dive the TC when you feel like you have enough units. Just you can click it with a lot of melee units and you will be fine. And I think if he plays it very well, going fast castle here is a little bit suicidary from DeMu.
DeMu still doesn't have the food out there, but he also doesn't have any more Sipahi to work with. Anotand has been building this army up for a while. Does have 4 knights, couple of spearmen archers as well. He's getting blacksmith upgrades, and DeMu is just now going to click fortification coming in on this tower, but looks like Anotand is going to dive that beforehand. Arrow slit's already complete. Anotand, though, stepping back, and I think this is where I have to ask, do you think Anotand is knowing that DeMu is already aging up?
I think he must expect it now, yeah. He only saw a few Sipahi, no meter, no military school. I think you 100% expect your opponent to be aging up.
Villagers getting caught in here, and again, we go back to that moment where the town center, the optimal TC spot, was blocked. One villager falls, many idled and damaged. These knights, they're definitely starting to cause a lot of chaos in this economy. Third villager falls as well, and so many villas from DeMu are forced to be idle as well.
Yeah, and DeMu doesn't have +1 attack on arrow, obviously, so I'm quite sure he could just dive the TC and click it, and he will just kill too much for DeMu to recover. Oh my god, okay. That's totally terrible.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Wow.
DeMu went back on the
That's too
barriers, didn't notice the villagers being slain. He's down by 8 eco now, and again, he's facing elimination if he loses in this game. Now he's starting to mix in some crossbows, some knights, a mangonel too, but that mangonel is actually coming from the Imperial Armory, so it's going to take some time until it comes out. Anotand, he could be so close to taking out DeMu here. He lost 3-2 to Lucifron in the winner's bracket, narrowly losing to Lucifron. Now he could have a narrow win here against DeMu because things aren't looking good for Benny Boy.
Yeah, losing this TC, it means you're gonna be behind for the whole game. He went for the second visor point, I guess. I'm not sure what it is. Or does he have a second visor point? I'm not even sure. Like, he didn't make a lot of units, I guess, so I guess he doesn't have one. Oh, he does actually, yeah. I will be like going age up and having not a third one. A second one will be a bit crazy. But I mean, this one is a greedy one, so I'm not sure what he really wants to do with that. I would expect monks actually, but
it's an interesting call, right? Because having more military scores is good, but it takes so much time to get any value out of those military scores. And now he gets pushed away from the gold mine. he is actually thinking about getting, well, he's not just thinking about, he's doing this just now, getting veterancy for the Sipahi, but he only has one Sipahi on the field right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm really not sure about that. I'm not sure if that's a good timing to do that. More military schools, he already has 3, okay, that's pretty good. Didn't know he had 3 already. That's a good setup. Anotand is trying to go castle, but at the same time he needs to wall. And he's gonna run out of food under his TC, so... He's gonna go on berries, I guess, but you really don't want to do that usually, so... It's gonna be a weird timing where, like, you really cannot go age up. But at the same time, your opponent is gonna go... Mangonels, obviously, because it's free. And then he's gonna try to get relics, which really... I mean, it's really annoying if you don't deny any. Even if you kill the TC, it's still annoying and you want to deny them. So it's gonna be a weird dynamic for Anotand, I think.
Well, crossbows now coming out here for DeMu, but he lost his extra TC. He lost 9 villagers here, so he's down by 12 eco in total. At the very least, he's in Castle Age. Anotand is still stuck in Feudal, but the army for Anotand is just so much bigger. And, you know, this is always a talking point with the Knights. A Knight is much better than a normal Feudal Age unit, so sure enough, Anotand's army is a Feudal Age army, but it's a really good Feudal Age army.
Oof,
Knights
okay.
trying to pinch the Mangonel. Crossbows doing their best to body block. Nice micro there by DeMu, focusing down the Knight. Looks like the Spearman will dive as well. Mangonel shots looking decent as well, but the Meter gets caught in the crossfire. Meter goes down, and the Crossbows just holding their position, doing a great job against all these archers, though. And I don't know about you, but I mean, this is as good as it gets for DeMu fight-wise. Yeah. I just don't think it might be enough.
He's fighting under TC as +1 attack. He's gonna hold, but at what cost? It really depends. Like, if you lose any more villagers, that's gonna be very bad. But he's on 4 military school. He's on an age up compared to Anotand. Anotand is not that close to the age up, so maybe there is a ward. I'm not sure. It's gonna be weird. But it's not 100% over yet, I think.
Yeah, this is a weird fight from Anotand. He needed to kill that Mangonel, but he wasn't able to. And now that Mangonel got so much value, it got a great hit on the Spearmen, got a great hit on the Archers. And as you kind of highlighted, DeMu still, he is hurt, but he's not down yet. He is 1 age up compared to his opponent. And it's the military schools that start to come online now. He's got quite a few military schools to work with. And all those free units, they are really good to offset this difference that you see at the top of the screen in economy.
Yeah. He made a few crossbow though, so that's good against Knights, obviously. But the rest of the army is just like, he has a little bit of everything. He has 1 Meller, a few Sipahi, a few Archer, a few Crossbow, a few Janissaries, a few Knights. So he's going a little bit everywhere. I feel like you just need to go Sipahi, and then you go Janissaries with some Archer. And then you have a good comp. I don't think Crossbow are very necessary in this case. So I guess he went for the Vizier point that is boosting his military school, since he's already on 4. There is no way he went for anything else. Oh no, he went for the Janissary actually, I think. No? He's on 14. So I guess he went for the big Janissary boom, and he wants to push his advantage, military advantage, my bad.
Sludge is in here for Anotand as well. He's got a lot of villagers out here. At least he's got a tower to protect them with. He's just not getting the veterancy for both the Knights and the Spearmen. But when you have so many Janissaries out there, those Knights and even the Spearmen, they will just disappear in an instant.
Yeah, it will. Like 20 Janissaries is a lot. I mean, economy-wise, obviously, Anotand is 24 villagers ahead. More eco upgrades. But Benny is even harvesting berries, so it's really some bad harvesting rates.
Looking at the army though, DeMu does have a definitive lead right now, as it's going to be a men-at-arms switch here by Anotand. Somewhat surprising given the crossbow and Janissary count coming out of DeMu.
Yeah, I mean, what you can do usually to deny is this kind of Ottoman push. You just go front line, and then you make some Springhold, and he's gonna have to go back. Because usually they don't go blind on Springhold, and even if they do, you just go like for a big melee front line to heavily either dive your opponent or defend your siege line, and then you just make more siege than your opponent, and you can just force him back. And if you have more economy, obviously, it's the correct call.
That's a lot of Janissaries, and just look at how quick they're firing with the Meter buff in there. This is, you know, army-wise, DeMu needs to be happy about his position. Imagine how good his position would be if he didn't lose that DC and all those villagers.
Yeah.
Looks like Anotand is now looking for a run-by here with the Knights, but these are pricey units. He can't really afford to have them get decimated by Janissaries. Oh, he could find a Mangonel.
Yeah, he could totally find a Mangonel. He decides not to, or maybe he's not on it. He wants to on the economy.
Knights
He's
jumping
gonna
on the
kill a few.
vills as
Yeah.
well. And it looks like Knights will be cleaned up, though. I don't know about you, but I feel like there was too little value maybe for all these Knights. Sure enough, Mangonel went down, a couple of villagers went down, but at the same time, those Knights are very much needed here for Anotand. Oh, you could find so much more value here.
Yeah, some more idle time from Ottoman, from DeMu, which is really not cool. That's good for Anotand, obviously. Training more army for more economy, more idle time, more villager skill. He's on 1 TC, I mean 2 TC against 1 TC, so he's really looking for any damage. Sadly, he let DeMu run away with 4 relics, which is very big. But it's fine. It should totally be fine.
We can't equalizing now. Anotand has a 30 eco lead. It's getting veterancy on the archers. Sipahi getting absolutely slaughtered by all these spearmen out here. They run into that bike wall, got stunned and got butchered as a consequence. But at the same time, DeMu does have siege. Anti-siege just now coming out here for Anotand. DeMu is also sitting on soon-to-be 4 relics, which is, to be fair, really good considering how confined to his base he was for quite some time.
Yeah, very, very good. He's going for +2 archer and archer upgrade. Mangonels are trying to kill the spring gold, but it's not gonna work normally. Yeah, Janissaries. So good.
Trying to break through the wall here. Anotand is waiting for the veterancy on the archers, but that's an aggressive move by DeMu. He's dropping a keep in front of the enemy base here. Anotand needs to fight this, otherwise this keep is going to go up, but it's going to be so difficult fighting against all these Mangonels. And of course the Janissaries as well, Springolds, looking to snipe out the Mangonels from the back line. Castle almost completed, I feel, but the crossbows looks like they will be able to focus down the villagers. Springolds now taking out the first Mangonel. Springold getting picked off, at least one of the two, and the castle does complete. DeMu with a marvelous forward position now.
Yeah, I mean it's good on paper, but I think it's not gonna do much. I think you just go for more Springgold and more Trebuchet now. You go for like 2 or 3 Trebuchet, and it's just gonna die by itself. So DeMu is taking a good position, but he's not achieving too much with it. He's denying 1 gold, but you still have the back gold on the left corner of the map, and you have the upper gold that is pretty big for Anotand. So it's a fake good position, I think. When people see this kind of position, usually they tend to think it's a problem, but I would say it's really not. Like I think it's just a random castle and it's not gonna do anything. He's gonna build off siege from that position though. Like it's better than nothing, but really normally you just make trebuchet and you're gonna kill the castle that costs stone to repair, and then you're just gonna move your opponent because it's an all-in forward position, and once you kill the castle, it doesn't have much left to defend the position. So, and with so many mana arms, I think he's gonna be totally fine.
Yeah, Vizier point available once again for DeMu. He does have 3 sacred sites, but the population lead is just so massive for Anotand over here. Sure enough, some of that eco differential is offset by the relics and the free units from the military school, but I mean, you can't deny the fact that Anotand is 200 population, DeMu is only 125.
Yeah, he's gonna need some more siege. I think it shouldn't be... It's pretty much a mistake to be capped right now as Anotand. He should have stopped making units at like 185 to make sure he can make only siege from that point on. And then you keep the rest of your money to gauge up if you want, or to make a bigger bank if you think the fight is gonna come soon. But going 200 supply and still making units is a mistake in my opinion.
DeMu, he's looking to accomplish something over here, but he must know that his eco is not as good as what we have here for Anotand, at least in terms of nominal eco numbers. But even when you look at the resource income per minute, it's even at the best. But of course, Anotand has nothing to spend resources on right now. Like, he's
Yeah.
200 out of 200 population. He can grab upgrades. Or he could just start slamming units against DeMu's forces and replacing them immediately.
Yeah, I mean, he could actually move under the castle. It wouldn't be too bad. We know it because we see the army size, but he will never do that, obviously. Until the castle is dead, he's not gonna push. But he's on one trap, so it's not like and the trap is gonna die, I think. That was a run by going for it. So he's never gonna take down the castle. Yeah, the trap died on the left, I think, of the TC, which is pretty bad for Anotand. Maybe yeah, you can just send your army into your opponent's base. That's good.
That's exactly what Anotand is doing. He detached 20 or so men-at-arms. They're heading towards DeMu's base. Most of DeMu's forces are essentially right at this castle, so he might not have much to defend against that counterattack with. Anotand also managed to sneak out to the large gold way into the north, and that's not something that DeMu is denying either.
Okay, small run by. It's gonna do some damage, but nothing big. DeMu is still very aggressive on the map. He has like the deer pack at the north. I guess he will go for the berries too at some point. Oh, and he really wants to go for victory with Sacred Sites, I guess.
Well, I mean, he might not have another option because he can't really breach the enemy base here, especially with Anotand having reached Imperial. Castle trying to be built right next to the sacred site over here. Anotand did his best to decap this. DeMu should be able to finish this keep eventually, but there's still 8 minutes on the countdown and the elite upgrades are coming in for Anotand. You feel like he's got so much time still here to decap one of these sacred sites.
Yeah, just need to make sure you don't lose the siege fight. Don't go before your upgrade. That will be a little bit of a bad fight. That can be
Here comes the
scary
dive here. Yeah, the upgrades aren't really there just yet, so thinks twice about this one. Maybe he didn't see the whole army because the stealth forest, that's one thing I can imagine. But he's going to regroup, wait for some reinforcements to arrive. Shadow Trigger is now coming in for a Springles though, and that's going to just essentially guarantee the Springles war for him.
Yeah, it will, but it doesn't have that much vision, and there is a big tree right there. I mean, not a big tree, like a stealth forest, which is very annoying to deal with as a Springles player. So it's gonna be a weird one. It doesn't have enough anti-building. It's only one trap, so that's not gonna be good enough to kill the castle. And like, man-at-arms upgrades are amazing. You have more HP, you have more armor, it's amazing, but like against Janissaries, it's not that good. So you can't really just YOLO into your opponent's army just because you're 1 age up.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's not just Janissaries as well. It's also Mangonels, quite a lot of Mangonels from DeMu. And he's got 7 Matter. Like, that's no joke. 7 Matter buffing your army. That means that no matter what happens, DeMu is going to have that buff non-stop. There's no way you snipe all of them.
Yeah, I guess he has just as one military school non-stop producing Matter, which is a bit of a weird dynamic, but why not? If it works, it works. Yeah. Anotand is still on the same
trying
problem,
to
his
take
caps.
this out, but he only has 1 trap right now, so DeMu is just like, yeah, whatever. And look at DeMu. He wants to go into Imperial himself.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? He bought himself a lot of time. He's gonna lose the Springles though. That's fine for now. I mean, the castle is doing a lot of damage to the Springles. Okay, he's gonna take a random fight. Now he sees it's a lot, like a big concave on top of that. That's pretty hard to engage in.
That stealth forest is helping DeMu so much though, because Anotand really doesn't know what he's facing off against. And like, he saw the Janissaries, he saw the Mangonels. I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. But at the same time, while he's not diving, DeMu is gonna be up to Imperial himself.
Yeah, I think the correct play would be to just send pretty much your whole man-at-arms army across the map and try to run by into your opponent's economy. Maybe kill military schools, kill monasteries, kill stuff that is valuable economically. But staying here with a dead army and you don't want to push with it, it's pretty bad. Maybe he was waiting for the university upgrade. It's coming on soon, very soon, pretty much right now. So that's maybe what he was waiting for. Would make a lot of sense.
Janissary guns upgrade, elite upgrade coming in as well. Looks like Anotand is going to dive once again, but it's so many Matter, and the Mangonel fire from behind the stealth forest. Anotand is running into his own demise over here. These units weren't even in the stealth forest, they were behind. Anotand couldn't have seen them, and look at this absolute slaughter. Anotand's army just disappeared in an instant. And this is a Castle Age army. This is not an Imperial Age army just yet from DeMu.
It's painful. That's painful. Janissaries are not fully upgraded. It's gonna be very... I mean, okay, kill the castle at least. He's gonna be fine when it comes to the siege fight. So he's just gonna need to remake a big army. Strelsies, man at arms. To be fair, he still has a lot of gold on the map that is pretty free for himself. He has the big gold mine and he has the Kremlins.
He's pulling militias. That's how desperate he is. He pulled 28 militias, but again, that's not going to do too much.
If you win the siege fight, I think it's good. Like to put the militia like that. It's one of the best way you can use them. He did some pretty good damage with them, look. Like it's only 10 Janissaries left. He was at 30, so it's a very good fight and it's always a good unit to plot.
Yeah, I have to agree with you here. I didn't expect those militia to do this much, and they might have been a saving grace here for Anotand because things look very dicey. But guess what? Rebordoquin now coming in here for DeMu. Only survives like 5 seconds after the Streltsy close distance and take it out. It was a little late to the party. Against the militias, it would have been fun, but well, there it goes. With the militias gone, though, DeMu is getting back onto this. Meta being caught here by the cannon, though. A lot of these meta are very low HP.
Yeah, low HP. But obviously, Benny cannot leave this position because it's a sacred side victory. Like, I think it's his only way he's gonna win this game in the next, like, 10 minutes. So he really wants to work for it, but it's gonna get a little bit harder, I think. The middle one is not secured.
That one fight where so many Janissaries went down to the militia, that might have been it. Because, as you said, DeMu needs to stay. But the military schools, they're slow to replenish the army. Anotand is at 175 population. He's dropping a keep next to the sacred site. DeMu is down to 127 population, and just look at how slow he's getting that population back. He's got 400 food per minute. Essentially, all of his military production is coming from military schools.
That hurts though. Like, Anotand is getting tight barn with only 1 relic. I've never seen that. This guy is a bit crazy. The game is going wild and he's having a hard time uncapping sacred sites. And he goes tight barn for 500 gold to just make sure your single relic is doing a bit better.
It's something. But the sacred site decap is now going to happen almost certainly here. And that resets DeMu so badly because, as you said, he really needed this sacred site victory. Beyond that, there is not much going for him. He's still 140 population against 200 now. Anotand is also mixing in Streltsy. DeMu's got a great bombard on the way, a couple of meta, but he's got basically no front line to his army.
Yeah, no front line, no walls to defend run-bys. So really, Anotand, he can do a lot of good stuff right now to make sure he wins the game. I guess he just needs to secure the top side of the map where there is a lot of gold. And once you do that, you're in a winning position, 100%.
At least the elite upgrade is in for DeMu's Sipahi, though.
Ooh, the site.
Anotand didn't decap the sacred site.
I mean,
the countdown is still going on.
Because there is a bottom sacred site that is very exposed to. So it's not like it's only one sacred site. I mean...
Yeah. I mean, he should decap this, but still, it's actually very funny. It's actually giving free gold to DeMu as well.
Yeah, it's a big mistake. We never know what's happening, so like... If you just take a bad fight now and you lose the sacred site retake, it's terrible. You lose. But it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, he's gonna be all good. Men-at-Arms are now being trickled into DeMu's eco, just harassing all these vills. DeMu still has 4 relics though, and he's got the military schools, but the population, again, is just looking so underwhelming. And again, don't tell me. Like, he needs to decap one of these sacred sites. Yeah. It would be the biggest throw in history to lose a game to sacred sites when you're pushing the enemy base.
Red Bull. It will be the end of his run, so yeah.
This is a decider game. Just come on, decap one of those sites.
Yeah, he wants to pressure at the same time, but just leave one unit.
Just send a villager or something. Okay, maybe now.
Wait,
although...
That's pretty scary. That's great bombards in it too.
And Mangonels are setting up. That could be dicey. Springolds taking a shot here. Mangonels pushing away the Man-at-Arms. This is why, as you said, you gotta decap it while you can because you never know what's coming next.
Okay, he should be fine because DeMu is going back. But with, like, DeMu is going back, he is getting almost 100 villagers. He got a few Imperial upgrades. He's getting great bombards. Maybe can come back from this position. We have to remember he is on 4 relics, so his passive income is actually pretty good. 4-5 military schools.
He's been slowly booming back up, and as you said, if he gets back up to the population, maybe he's got a shot. At the very least, Anotand decapped one of those sacred sites, so the danger of the sacred site countdown is no longer looming over him. But DeMu needs to make something happen. He's just trapped inside his base, and you see he's struggling to find safe resources to work with.
Yeah, it makes sense. Even his castle line, like it was very forward, so it's very easy to take down as Anotand. Saying that he's losing one member. Did he take down the bottom castle? I feel like it could just retake the whole part of the map that is bottom side to make sure the wood line are safe, and then he can just work on the rest of the map with his army. Oh, beautiful fights, killing one Mangonel.
Mangonel's getting picked off here from the distance by Anotand. His Springolds are working wonders, but at the same time, Mangonel fire is still helping DeMu over here. Springolds trade off against each other. You also have a bunch of bombard fire coming in here for DeMu. Genissaire is still firing from the back line. Front line is gone for both of these players, but Mangonel's still available here for Anotand. He does have the Streltsy standing their ground over here. Great bombard firing from the back line. Both players essentially reduced to next to no army.
Yeah, but the reset is very good for Anotand, so he's gonna be pretty happy about this one. He has control of most of the gold on the map, plus he's just on a bigger economy. He has all the upgrades level 3. DeMu is like on a full upgrade level 1, for example, so you can see there is a real big difference in economy.
Look at the chaos to the north as well. Like, they're just spamming castles and towers on all these gold mines. It has been absolute chaos, but as you highlighted, DeMu actually added the second TC, so now he's getting back in terms of the villager count, but his food eco is abysmal, 600 per minute compared to 2600 on the other side.
Yeah, he's just not ready for the late game. I think he's missing a lot of university upgrade too, so it's gonna be a hard one to climb. He's gonna be very uphill, but who knows? Like he's got one of the best team in the game to do that, to do a good comeback. There is no sacred side timer going on, so he's safe in this regard. He's getting tight barn, which is very good economically. +2 on wood, that's good. So he's getting stuff to make sure he can come back. That's a good start.
Mangonel is now moving up over here, getting caught a little by this surprise push of Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms do getting absolutely slaughtered here by the Janissaries. Though, and again, let's not forget, DeMu is sitting on 4 relics and also 2 sacred sites. Sacred sites that never really have been decapped, although DeMu looks like he might be losing the keep over here. He's sending the villagers in for the repairs. Mangonel fire helping out as well. Villagers actually made it to the keep, and DeMu might be able to keep this alive. Bombard still firing away on it, though. Nothing to snap that Bombard with. Next shot could be fatal, and there goes the keep.
Yeah, doesn't have any stone left on the map for himself, so he's gonna have to work with... I mean, to be fair, he has tight barn, so he can have some passive stone income, but he's not gonna have a lot of defensive structure left.
Yeah, castle standoff here to the north here. Anotand is the one without gold, by the way. He's at 200 per minute. He's being denied of the gold, and DeMu does have 2600 per minute. You said this before, DeMu has a great civilization to come back with, and he's got 4 relics with Tithe Barns, 2 sacred sites still, and apparently he's the only player with any kind of a reasonable access to gold right now.
Yeah, and he got siege lead, DeMu. So he's gonna be able to take down castles left and right and to actually win the siege fight, which is very big, obviously. So maybe he's doing it. Maybe it's getting close.
Honestly, I feel like he needs to get his food eco back on track, though, because still 1,000 per minute. He's getting upgrades now. I mean, he didn't have a lot of gold for quite some time, so I guess he was missing upgrades because of that. Now he's getting those upgrades, so that should help a lot.
Yeah, all the armor is really not used. All the siege is outside of the range, which is terrible. He only got 1 upgrade from it, which is Spring Gold upgrade for the 0.25 range on it, which is decent. But it's pretty sad using the high armory that poorly. What happened with the economy? Look at the economy count.
Yeah, I think Anotand either deleted villagers or he lost them to DeMu. DeMu has 60 eco kills, yeah. I think those villagers might have been just killed by the castles to the north. But it looks like we're gonna have a big fight. Multiple great bombards. Suddenly the population doesn't look so good for Anotand. A lot of eco gone. He doesn't have any gold income. Dives into this absolute chaos here. Gunpowder on the side of DeMu, though, reigning supreme against that infantry. Stealth is strong, but in such a huge cluster that the great bombards just easily decimate that group. Suddenly, in a blink of an eye, this is shifting in the favor of DeMu in what could be the final game of Anotand in this tournament.
That would be a pretty big throw, to be fair. He was in a very commanding lead the whole game. He had a very good early game, but then he didn't snowball that well. He was doing okay for a while. He was controlling gold, but DeMu dropped 2 very good keep at the north to deny the rest of the gold from Anotand. And since then, it's going downhill for Anotand. Only bad fights and only bad news.
I have to agree with you. Anotand, he has no gold income. He cannot really afford premium units, and these men-at-arms and spearmen being sent against these Janissaries just didn't pay off for him. And now DeMu has this absolute death ball. He's got 5 great bombards, 8 springolds, 2 mangonels. He doesn't even... This is, again, not even a classic army. This is just full siege at this point.
Yeah, I know, that's crazy. That was a wild comeback. It's still not over. You can't really trade on this map, I guess, because the trade post is terrible for both players. So I guess that's not really an option. So relics actually mattered a lot this game. And as I said, like at the start, when he took all the relics, it was very well played from DeMu, but it was also very poorly countered by Anotand. He had enough units on the ground to actually kill imams picking up relics, but he was letting them go for free, so it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think Anotand has been giving a lot of freebies here for DeMu. Just as an example, DeMu still has the sacred site at the bottom of the screen. That was behind Anotand's walls for the last 10 or so minutes. The northern sacred site just got decapped. And those are freebies that you can't really give to a player like DeMu. That is part of the reason why he had the potential to just reboom into this game. A bunch of extra gold from those sacred sites, of course 4 relics as well. Those were essentially the driving force behind this comeback.
Yeah, and also Anotand, I think one of the big mistakes, he was making all the time a big army, but it was never a big siege army. If you just made a big siege army once and pushed into the Mogonel count and the Great Bombard count, just reset it once, and then you just easily finish the game with your next wave. But he never really made a lot of spring gold to make sure he can win the siege fight. He was just always on the same count as DeMu.
And now look at DeMu's upgrades as well. For a long time he was behind in upgrades because he didn't have the gold to afford them. Now he's on par with Anotand. All the upgrades that he needs are in there. But Anotand, I mean, his army is still no pushover. It's 60 men-at-arms, 30 spearmen, some support from the Streltsy over here. He's gonna try to make a push into this one, but this could get ugly. So much firepower on the side of DeMu, but at the same time, not much frontline to work with, and the infantry could easily chump the siege weapons here. Maybe it's too much siege for DeMu. Oh my lord, this is just so chaotic. The Great Bombard's very tanky as well, and it looks like the infantry is just getting picked apart here way too quickly. Although as I'm saying that, that's a pricey engagement for DeMu.
Yeah. That's gonna be very pricey. He's making some reroll count. That's very smart. That's gonna be the counter to this army, because it's full of melee. But he lost full, like how many? 5 Great Bombards. He lost all his Mogonels. He saved his spring gold count, which is pretty big, but it's still very scary.
And this is 1 out of a million games where a Roboldoquin actually makes sense. Just 4 melee infantry from Anotand, and DeMu is now mixing in those Roboldoquin. They're just going to be so good against this huge cluster of infantry.
Yeah, the only way you counter them now, you either make more Streltsy, but you have no gold. Or I guess maybe you save your gold to make an archer transition, and you make some archer, but that's gonna be terrible against Sipai, so... going reroll can is actually very good here.
Towers being torched down over here as well. DeMu is rebooming, so does Anotand, but population is looking a little healthier for Anotand over here. Still not a lot of gold access for him, but it appears that he found some gold to work with. He's up to 600 per minute. At the same time, that northern side is still very much contested. That's basically the last available major gold mine to work with.
Yeah, and it seems pretty dead now. Like maybe 2 or 3k on it. Maybe a bit more. But it's for sure the last one. And then they are gonna have to start trading. And I don't feel like they are gonna be able to do that. It's gonna be a hard one, especially for Anotand. There is no way he can set up himself a trade.
Sipahi count is now rising very heavily for DeMu. All that siege is being replaced by Cav. Now, Anotand does have a lot of spears, but his army doesn't really have a lot of mobility. And there is a wide open gap in the middle of the map, so DeMu could just think about basically running past these units, running straight into the eco. Speaking of that, Man-at-Arms now making an appearance to the north here. DeMu's gold miners will be caught. That's quite a few villager casualties here. Castle doing its best to help out.
Yeah, there is a great bombarding placement to the north skip. That's pretty surprising because it's in a terrible spot. But it's helping the gold. Small run by killing a few more villagers. That's better than nothing. He's making 5 rams to make sure that when he pushes in with his infantry, he can actually take down keeps and buildings. But rebuild are gonna be an issue, man. It's gonna be a real issue.
Yeah, I actually don't know. Like, does the Rebolda Queen get buffed by the Meteor?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, there is the aura. That could be nasty. Like firepower or rate of fire buff on a Rebolda Queen, that could be ugly. That's a lot of Springles though, maybe too many. Sure enough, they're going to be great against the Rams, but they, once again, don't do much against this horde of infantry. But DeMu has yet to show all the Sipahi. He's actually coming back. You can see the purple dots on the minimap, also bottom left of your screen. This could be a beautiful pincer. A lot of spears here, though.
I think it's too many spears for you to really pinch this, but he can just protect his rebuild can. Even if it's spears against Sipahi, you just want to defend the siege. And then the siege is gonna do the work for yourself.
And here we go. Great bombards. Rebolda Queens just absolutely slaughtering all that infantry. The front line for Anotand is disappearing way too quickly. And he's struggling to replenish those forces right now. He doesn't have the production to quickly replenish those troops. He's out of food as well. And you really feel like the cost efficiency of these fights is the thing that secures the game now for DeMu.
Yeah, that and having so many relics, it's so freaking good. So yeah, he's just gonna be able to remake. He even made the incendiary arrow right now, so he's getting pretty rich. He's making these markets right there. Another is trying to do the same, but there is no way he can defend this line against Sipahi. It's gonna be hard.
Army count getting back on track here for Anotand, but he needs that food eco to get his army back on track. Food eco that's about to get raided by the Sipahi. And at the same time, DeMu is looking to move in through the middle as well. That's still a lot of spears to deal with. Makes you wonder if DeMu wants to start making, you know, some man-at-arms or something. It's not like he needs it, but he's just facing so many spearmen over here that Sipahi just can't stand and fight.
I mean, normally you would love to, but I feel like it's gonna be hard in this situation. I don't think he got the university upgrade for infantry. I don't think he got the level 4 man-at-arms. So maybe at some point if he starts trading. But for now I feel like you just go Sipahi, crossbow, some Janissaries, and then you just make your siege work. And that's what he's gonna do, I guess.
Anotand wanted to try and set up trade, but it's gonna come too late.
Yeah.
Get scouted out by DeMu. It's nowhere close to being started. And DeMu is just now rampaging the eco here from Anotand. Oh my. And funnily enough, DeMu still has that sacred site down south. That has never been decapped by Anotand. In fact, he's now started the sacred site countdown as well. Once again, 3 sacred sites, which, if nothing else, gives you a really nice trickle of gold for DeMu.
Yeah, and to be fair, like the game could still go on for a while, so maybe it's gonna go down to a sacred site victory at some point. So making sure you start it again is not too bad. Can only be good for you.
I always love it. It puts a timer on the game, although this ram push here is going to get rid of this keep fairly quickly. DeMu looks like he's not going to jump the rams. He's just assembling a force back at home here. Little confusion for this 1 great bombard.
Yeah, 4 great bombards, 1 rebuild core. That's gonna be very, very strong to push. But that being said, to be fair, like against 100 melee units, it's not gonna be good enough. I think you will need at least like 3 or 4 rebuild core if you really want to win the fight.
Sepa is still running around. The relic actually got ejected from the destroyed monastery here for Anotand, so he lost the only relic he had. Still looking to try and reboom and get some trade set up back up. But, I mean, recovery is a very long way in terms of the gold economy. DeMu still has 1,800 gold per minute, but he should be very close to depleting that gold mine he has.
I think he just finished it this minute, so it's gonna go down now.
He still has the Soul to Honey trade network, by the way,
Yeah.
as a side note.
I mean, he's just gonna trade too, so yeah, a lot of small bonus, but it's adding up. Sacred Sight, Relics, Sultanai network, and trade, I guess.
Sepa is just roaming the map non-stop here, but Anotand, I mean, it feels like he's unfazed. He just built another huge horde of infantry, and he's gonna try this again.
Yeah.
Here we go again, but this time around, a lot of great bombards available from the back line. There's one Boulderquin, 2 Meter buffing this as well. A couple of infantry units detached to jump the bombards, but it's just too little. The Meter actually do get surrounded though, but the Boulderquin firing from the back line, supported by the Janissaries, is once again securing a dominant win in this battle for DeMu.
Yeah.
DeMu barely lost any units, Anotand lost like 60 infantry.
Yeah, and he's losing his economy at the same time, so like, it's pretty much his last big army, and now he's gonna have a big problem. Sacred Sight are still not dealt with, so still a problem for the next 8 minutes if he doesn't. Okay, big ram push.
I actually wonder if this was trying to be a landmark snipe at this point from Anotand. He must know that he's in a tough spot. He dove in with his infantry, got butchered. Maybe try to go for like a ram plus infantry push, snipe the landmarks, but it's just too little, too late.
Yeah, not enough. He's making more man-at-arms and more spears, but it's not gonna do the job. He
At this
made a
point,
second
he's down
revolt
to
con again, another great bombard, so like, the army keeps getting better, you know? And for Anotand it's the opposite, so that's gonna be too hard.
And that's insane. That is an absolutely insane game to finish the series with.
Yeah.
Went all the way to 5 games. And Anotand, if he loses this game, this must feel so painful for him. Remember, he lost to Lucifer on 3-2 in the winner's bracket.
Yeah.
He's about to lose to DeMu 3-2 as well. He started the day on a winner's bracket, and he could end the day completely eliminated.
Yeah, it goes very fast. Very, very fast if you do have a bad day. And it seems like it's his bad day. I mean, to be fair, like losing 3-2 against both opponents here, it's not, there is nothing to be ashamed of. But for sure, Anotand, we can expect a bit more from him, so we would understand if he would be very disappointed.
He's trying to go low here to repulse this cavalry, but really, at this point, DeMu is definitively in the driver's seat. Anotand is going to try again. He's up to 70 spearmen again.
Yeah, but before it was more man-at-arms, so it's getting worse again. And the revolt can, yeah, that's gonna be way too hard. But to be fair, DeMu is really not pushing his advantage, and he's not really trying to do anything, which is surprising. He's just there.
Well, he's setting up trade though, so like,
Yeah.
I guess DeMu doesn't want to risk this. This game has seen a lot of momentum swings.
Yeah.
There were moments where it seemed like DeMu was gonna get annihilated in this game. So maybe this either game he doesn't want to risk anything. He's got 4 relics, 3 sacred sites. The countdown is still sticking for the sacred sites. And he's now setting up the trade. And he knows that Anotand has no trade. So I guess maybe he's thinking, why do I rush? I can just sit back and play a long game.
He can take his time, but he's on like 90 economy, so he must know like his army is unbeatable. He just needs to take decent fights with his revolt car. He needs to protect them. You don't really care about losing great bombard. You just care about your revolt car. And they can only die to streltsies, and your opponent doesn't have money. So need to be careful about streltsies and springhold. That's it.
And there we go. Anotand is up to 120 army, but it's deceiving. You look at the bottom left of your screen, the army value, it's 50% higher for DeMu, and that just goes to show that this is really a swarm of low-quality infantry against a very much premium army.
Yeah, you cannot get better armies than this. Good. I mean, frontline is not the best. You could get man-at-arm, but then backline is very good, and you have an insane siege line that is gonna carry your fight. So even some walls. That's funny. to make sure there is no big flanks on both sides. Look at him. That's funny.
This feels like a World War I scenario. Just trenches and infantry running into an absolute meat grinder.
Oh.
Janissaries going great bombards firing from the back line. The casualty count is just unimaginable for Anotand. He's actually getting through the first line of purple units, but there's gonna be a second line and a third, and this is it for Anotand, folks.
Wow.
What an absolutely monstrous series here. And again, Anotand, he started the day on the winner's bracket, narrowly lost to Lucifron, and now DeMu edges out an absolutely monstrous victory here in game number 5. Really, what a series.
Yeah, I mean, that was a crazy game 5. So, yeah, I don't know, that's crazy. DeMu is going to be very exhausted though, so he has to be careful about that, because he still has one more match against a very strong opponent. Plus, we know, like DeMu, he doesn't like to play late. Yeah, it's a bit late, but it's for Red Bull, bro. You have to work for it. So he's gonna have to go for one more best of 5 to make sure he lives on for tomorrow.
But we've been talking long enough here, and you know, KP has been watching from the sideline here, thinking when it's gonna end. I'm sure he's got a lot of things going on in his mind here as we head back to the lobby.
I mean, first things first, Marino. What was that? Doesn't like to play late? Well, he just chose the late game by picking the Ottomans to round out that series. What a crazy game as well. By the way, Lytical, like, I don't know if you were getting these vibes. You remember back in the last Red Bull Wololo, one of the most absurd Sacred Site games, and one of the players that was in that? I don't know how it is, but DeMu, more often than almost any other player, always finds his way into these absolutely crazy late games.
It's beautiful to see, to be honest. If you ask me what I like about AoE 4 the most, I would probably say these crazy late games. Some people will disagree, but there's something special in just watching these really grindy games where you're scraping the map for the last pieces of remaining resources, and really it's just going to come down to these gigantic engagements. There is just something majestic watching these late game armies clash into each other, KP. So for someone like myself, this game was a treat.
Yeah, you know, let's talk a little bit about Anotand here, Marine Lord. I mean, you've scrimmed the lad a lot. You know, I always joke that he's your little Anakin, right? And you're the Emperor, just working behind the scenes to get him trained up. He looks like he's on the verge, and I kind of feel bad for him, because I know talking to you on my stream the other day, you mentioned that the two people you anticipate to be the front runners here to make it to Wololo is Lucifron and Beastie. Does it feel like Anotand should maybe have got knocked out a bit deeper at least? Does it feel like maybe part of this is just him meeting the potential champs very early on?
I mean, yeah, there is just a hard way of the bracket, I guess, like with DeMu, Anotand, Vortex, and Lou. So obviously you can only have a few winners, and you're gonna have a few losers, so it is what it is. But yeah, he did a decent game. I guess this game 5 is gonna be pretty mad about himself, because it was pretty bad. The rest of the series, I think he did pretty well. Like, maybe the game on Gorge, the English game, that was a pretty weird one. He did a few bad mistakes. But the Kawasan game, he played okay. It was just like a good draft from DeMu and a good play. And Frisian Marsh, I think he played well, so it is what it is.
It's just unfortunate, right? We can only get one to that castle, one for a showdown with you. But, you know, looking at who we've seen so far today, looking at the remaining brackets, I mean, you can bait us with a lie here. Is there anyone that you're seeing as a lethal threat, right? I know you're going to say you can beat everyone on LAN, but is there maybe one player that surprised you here that's looking extra scary?
I mean, we only saw one today, that is in the winner bracket, and then it's only loser bracket, so probably not.
Of course, and you're not worried about losers, because, you know, if they lose once, they're just going to lose again. I see how it is.
No, but like, I guess, Le Chiffon, I would like to see actually Le Chiffon. He had a close one against Anotand, so I guess tomorrow I will take a close look at the winner bracket. It will be some great games.
Yeah,
so
you know
I guess, yeah.
I'll let you guys quickly have a break while we get ready to figure out what we're going to do next. I'm going to run people through what has happened today, because a lot of games have happened. Some people have been eliminated. We say farewell to a few names. So let's head across the bracket and see how things are starting to line up here. So, of course, we began in that upper bracket. Some interesting performances. Baltoon making Beastie sweat a little bit in those first two games, even at up 1-1, but was able to take him down 3-1 in the end. The question is whether the Swede can keep up the heat in that lower bracket and surprise a lot of people here. CSO versus Wham was another intriguing one. A lot of prospect from CSO going into this after he was able to 3-1 Vortex, but unfortunately, Wham had his number. You will be able to catch that on our YouTube side later. We did cast it here on the Twitch side as well. And Puppy Paw versus Louis. It seems this time around, Canadians versus China is coming all up for the red and white flag that supports the Bears. Canadians are just looking on fire here as they both 3-1 their opponents, and they go through for matchups of Beastie and Wham and Puppy Paw versus Lucifron that will be happening tomorrow. And of course, we looked at Lucifron versus Anotand from the side, glancing, giving a little bit of annotation on how that one played out. I think drafting definitely came into it towards the end to knock Anotand down, but you can't fault Lucifron's performance. He's looking like one of the front runners. When we have a look at the lower bracket, we can see who we've seen farewell to so far, because there is already a slaying of some familiar names here. Of course, there's only one that can go through, remember, to face off against Marine Lord later this year in El Renado. And I'm wondering who it can be. I mean, he didn't want to allude to it, but he did mention to me before Beastie and Lucifron as front runners, and they are remaining in that upper bracket. The question mark is whether Canadians go all the way. I've got to say, looking at their performances, the first S-tier tournament this year of EGC, a lot of people would have Wham and Puppy Paw, I'd say top 4, top 5. But question marks were flagged with, I think, the Master of Realms performances. Looks like they're quick to answer back. So we're just prioritizing what's going to be happening next and what we're going to have a look at. If we hop to the lower bracket in the meantime, I can run you through what has been happening there over the last few days. Because, of course, we did say farewell to the Sweet Prince of Wololo's, Corvinus getting knocked out 3-0 to DeMu. DeMu, who just took down Anotand. I think one of the favorites of people to make top 8 here. Oh, knocked a little bit short, but Ben keeping the dream alive going later into the evening. And this is going to be an interesting one. Vortex had a long series, but it was only long in count, not in time. A much quicker series between him and Louis MT to get a 3-2 victory. On the other side of things, it's actually boiling into an interesting rematch from a different LAN environment here. Kiljardi able to take down CSO 3-2, and Baltoon able to take down Zerton 3-1, means we are going to be getting a rematch from King of the North here between Kiljardi and Baltoon, where formerly Kiljardi was able to get the better of Baltoon to get into a grand finals. The question mark is whether he can get that sweet vengeance and then maybe shuffle on through to a gradual showdown, potentially up against Ben himself, who of course did win King of the North.